Here, I can help you.
Can I have a taxi, please?
Where from? What's your contact number?
This one here.
Give me a private number, bro.
Is it on private?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
A report for the NHS says there's frustration that people with learning disabilities are still being placed in institutional care rather than being looked after in the community closer to their homes. The report accuses ministers of missing a deadline for transforming care in the wake of the Winterbourne View scandal, which exposed the abuse of patients at a private hospital near Bristol. The police officer who shot dead an unarmed black teenager in the American state of Missouri has said there's nothing he would have done differently and that his conscience is clean. The officer, Darren Wilson, won't be prosecuted and has told American television he had no choice but to open fire when the teenager charged towards him. Police are appealing for witnesses after a cyclist was pushed into a canal in Hemel Hempstead. The 29-year-old woman was cycling on the towpath off Two Water Roads at around 5 p.m. last Friday when a man pushed her and her bike into the Grand Union Canal. There are calls for the Lib Dem leader on Milton Keynes Council to stand down in the wake of the taxi scandal. Former Tory leader Andrew Geary says Douglas McCall was too slow to take action after ex-mayor and Lib Dem Subhan Shafiq was found to have vouched for a serial rapist to be a taxi driver.
Frankly, he has shown no leadership at all. He could have stopped this before it started by telling those who were guilty just to get out, and we could have held our heads high and moved on. This has dragged on and dragged on because of his lack of action. And frankly, his position is no longer tenable.
In sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale in League One last night. Will Grigg gave the Dons the lead, but they needed a Danny Green equaliser to earn a point. And in the Champions League, Manchester City came from behind to beat 10-man Bayern Munich 3-2 with a hat-trick from Sergio Aguero, keeping alive their hopes of progressing. The weather cloudy with outbreaks of rain through the day, a maximum temperature 9 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll further place go home. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Some of those words were right.
Yeah, well, they were right about 2 verses ago, yeah.
Morning, guys. I've got such a big vibe going this morning. Can you feel it, Catherine?
I can see it.
We have had way too many Haribos this morning, and we are off our mash. which is good because we've got some good stuff to talk about. Burglar on the phone. You heard some of that in the news. We'll play the full, the 2 phone calls in a minute. What a plum! And we've also sent Justin out to a canal. He was a little bit reluctant to go, but he came in this morning saying, I'm always going to go to the canal to get Voxes. Those people are nuts. It's a serious story, but boy, oh boy, he's found a new home. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
So boobs is not news.
Katia, what was that you just said?
So boobs is not news.
Thank you very much indeed. Should we have a song first, Catherine? And then we'll this is going to be a good show. I'm chomping at the bit.
Champing?
I'm chomping at the bit.
You're champing?
Huh?
You're champing at the bit?
I am so chomping at the bit.
Champing on it?
Right now, I am chomping.
Champing on.
Chomping?
Champing.
I am.
At the bit.
You.
Just,
okay.
the song.
Thank you, but I am chomping at the bit.
Champing.
I am chomping.
I love Big Bum. Just take Uranus out of the picture. Just say it explodes.
I am not in a bad mood.
Christmas is not coming.
Morning, guys. I think I'm coming around to thinking that I might be thinking that I quite like Phil Collins.
Well, you like this one and you like Easy Lover. That doesn't mean that you like all his oeuvre.
I don't like Another Day in Paradise.
No.
No, I don't like that. But
do you like Two Hearts beating in just a wonder? I've had hangovers like that.
Now, it's been a long time since I planned a bank heist or a diamond robbery. It's been a while. So I'm doing all right, but I seem to remember there are a few golden rules that you pick up at burglary school. And not calling a taxi from the scene of the crime is lesson 1. Yet some plum appears to have done that after burgling a house. This is incredible, Catherine. This is in Luton. We've got the guy's voice on tape, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Bedfordshire Police have released it in the hope that someone will recognise it and tell them who he is. What we do know is that this fella called for a taxi from Woodcroft Road. Sorry, Woodcroft. Is it Woodcroft or Woodcroft?
I don't know. Yeah, I'd say Woodcroft.
Woodcroft Road in
until
Luton,
someone corrects us.
In the early hours of Saturday, October the 25th. A home had been burgled in the road during the same night. An offender stole a number of electrical items, including a large flat-screen television, which would have been hard to get away with.
Those are tough to carry.
The taxi firm recorded this audio after the caller could not identify the number he was calling from.
Hang on, we're about to play Phil Collins again. Right, do that line again.
OK, so this is what happened the first time the guy called the taxi company.
Speak here, I can help you.
Can I have a taxi, please?
Where from? What's your contact number?
This one here.
You're in a private number, bruv.
Huh? Is it on private?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
Give me a mobile number, innit?
079.
Yep.
No, 078.
078.
94.
94.
Oh, hang on, I don't even know that. No, boss, it's alright, it's alright.
Smooth. What he's done there is he's realised he was given his own mobile number. So he thinks, hang on, let me just rethink this and I'll go back in. This time I'll be prepared for what comes next.
He doesn't sound like a bright lad, does he? This is the second call he makes.
Hello, I can help you.
Yeah, can I have a taxi, please, mate?
Well, same call centre, man.
Oh, is it the same call centre?
Yeah.
No, that'll do with that number.
No, we take numbers so the calls are recorded as well, innit?
Alright, no worries. Yeah. Cool.
You can hear his mastermind brain thinking, how the hell am I going to get out of this pickle? What are the police saying?
Well, the police are not going as far as to say that this is the man that they want, but the Detective Constable Scott Hannum says they believe this man may have important information which could assist their investigation. He says, I would urge anyone who recognises the voice or the man himself to contact police. I'm also keen to hear from anyone who has any information or saw a large television being carried around this area on the night in question.
It actually says that! The press release says that, doesn't it?
If you saw someone taking a telly for a walk around the Woadcroft Road area in the early hours of Saturday, October the 25th, you need to call 101.
If you recognise that gentleman's voice, then call 101. There should be a phone in this. I can't think what the hell it is. What's the most stupid phone call you've ever made? Or I mean, it is just... Yeah, he's robbed someone's house, but what a plum. What a plum!
Making the same mistake twice?
Making the same mistake twice. We'll have that one. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Roberto Perrone.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
That took us all by surprise. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll have a little bit of Diana Ross and the Supreme, shall we? Why not?
Through the mirror of my mind, time after time, I see reflections of you and me, reflections of the way life used to be, reflections of the love you took from me. Oh, I'm all alone now, no love to shield me, trapped in a world that's a distorted reality. Happiness you took from me and left me alone with only memories. Through the mirror of my mind, through these tears that I'm crying, reflects the hurt I can't control. 'Cause although you're gone, I keep holding on to the happy time when you were mine. As I peer through the window of lost time, looking over my yesterday and all the love I gave all away. All the love that I wasted, all the tears that I tasted, all the pain. Through the hollow of my tears, I see a dream that's lost from the hurt that you have caused. Everywhere I turn, seems like everything I see reflects the love that used to be. In you I put all my faith and trust, right before my eyes, my world has turned to dust. After all the nights I sat alone and wept, just a handful of promises are all that's left of loving you. Reflections of the way life used to be, reflections of the love you took from me. In you I put all my faith and trust, right before my eyes.
Travel news for beds, cards and bucks.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Having a look at these speed sensors this morning, and things are generally moving very well so far. Checking in Roxton on the A1 Great North Road, there are other roadworks going on around the Black Cat roundabout. It's moving fine at the moment. It's likely to get very busy later on when it gets into the morning rush hour though. Having a look at the roads on the cameras around Hemel Hempstead, and things are moving well through those roadworks on Leighton Buzzard Road. The roadworks are at Moor End Road, not causing any problems at the moment. And in High Wycombe on the A40 Oxford Road, there's a lane closed for roadworks in both directions at Temple Street, and that is likely to get busy later on as well. Having a look at the departure boards, and no delays are showing up for the trains at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. Catherine, anything you wanted to add to the travel there?
No, I think she got it covered there, don't you?
Thank you very much. 6:17. Wednesday the 26th of November. We're a month away until it's all over and we're miserable again. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he's just broken into. And in sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale last night. Coming up, Justin Dealey on Gaze.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
iPlayer the taxi journey when the weather chat has dried up after 5 minutes. iPlayer your other half's really bad taste in TV. iPlayer the first chance you've had to sit down since that customer. An iPlayer ending up in the wrong queue at the supermarket every single time. BBC iPlayer. BBC Radio and TV, always there when you need it.
Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, according to new research, but the Thames Valley Police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, shows a fall in the past 2 years. Well, Justin Dealey can tell us more. What are the main findings of this research, Just?
Well, police forces around the UK, they were asked about the number of violent homophobic crimes in their area. The research for the Press Association, under the Freedom of Information Act, it showed that the problem has doubled in Hertfordshire from 8 during 2013 to 16, whilst in Bedfordshire it increased from 6 to 10. The figures in for 2014, they go up to the end of October, so any offences committed in November and December will eventually be added on.
Well, Just, does this mean that the Thames Valley Force has been more successful in dealing with this issue?
Well, it would certainly seem so from the research, which shows that Thames Valley Police recorded 29 violent homophobic crimes between January and October, compared with 42 in 2013 and 52 in 2012. Inspector Jim Willis, who's from Thames Valley Police, explains what they've done to show they're taking this problem seriously.
We introduced LAGLOs last year, who are lesbian and gay and transgender liaison officers. They're specially trained officers who work across the force with victims and investigation officers to provide a more sensitive and effective response. So that's something that we're doing specifically to tackle hate crime with regard to homophobia and to raise confidence amongst the gay and transgender community.
Any response from gay rights campaigners?
Well, the lesbian, gay and bisexual charity Stonewall, they say that homophobic hate crime is a real issue in the UK, and they want the authorities to continue to treat this very seriously. Other charities, they say that more than 4,000 of these crimes could be taking place. The government estimates that figure could be as high as 39,000, and they're concerned that the vast majority of hate crimes remain hidden in this country.
So are the figures we're hearing about locally just the tip of the iceberg?
Well, Thames Valley Police say that further research into the figures would be needed to say whether it is a real case. Inspector Jim Willis, he appreciates that public confidence in the way crimes of this nature are handled is an issue.
Sorry, Justin, I'm struggling with the computer here. Hang on a second, let's try that again.
I have no doubt that some victims are reluctant to report crimes to the police, and we've dealt with a number of incidents this year where that has been the case. But what I would say is if people are reluctant to report directly to the police, and there are alternative reporting mechanisms, they can contact Stop Hate UK, who run a 24-hour telephone line, or alternatively they can go on to the True Vision website and report things via the internet. Although I would add that these aren't designed for urgent reports of crimes in progress, for which 999 would still be the most appropriate response.
past. Get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, Jojo. Get back, back to where you once belonged. Get back, back to where you once belonged. Get back, Sweet Loretta Martin thought she was a woman, but she was another man. All the girls around me say she's got it coming, but she gets it while she can. Oh, get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back to Red Go home. Oh, get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, get back to where you once belonged. Get back, Loretta. Your mama's
Hi,
waiting
weirdos.
for you. Wearing a high heel shoe.
Who the hell's Jason Orange?
Rolex sweater. Get back home, Loretta.
Sex is everywhere.
I don't want people making love while I'm talking.
Sex is everywhere.
Women in underwear just look nice.
That was the adult version of Get Back, a little bit raunchy. Something for the dads there, and maybe even some of the mums. It's 2014, and who knows?
On behalf of those mums, thank you.
You're very, very welcome indeed. Clicky, clicky, clicky. There we go. A little bit of trouble with the computers today. I say the computers, me.
Yeah, your head.
Thank you. Milton Keynes Council met last night to discuss their report into how a serial rapist was allowed to become a taxi driver. The ex-mayor of Milton Keynes, Subhan Shafiq, who vouched for him, has since stood down altogether from the council. Well, the issue came to light back in August, and last night was an opportunity for councillors to fully debate what happened. Well, our reporter Tony Fisher joins you now. Tony, what does the report say?
Well, Ian, the report basically takes a look at what happened in this whole saga. It looks at the role of Mr. Shafiq, the ex-mayor. It goes into forensic detail about what he said, conflicting evidence about what he said, how long he'd known the convicted rapist, and then how he said, he was only up to his mother who told him to vouch for him. And at one point he said to someone else trying for a licence he would be OK getting his licence back because he'd spoken for a convicted rapist before and he got his licence. The report basically looks at key recommendations going forward. All applications will be refused where the applicant remains on the sex offenders register, a new training for counsellors, there's a new regulatory subcommittee which grants the licences, and it talks about doing checks or police checks on all the 1,300 or so drivers in the new city. This meeting was about considering the report, seeking assurances. It's not about blaming anyone. But it got a bit interesting when the former council leader, Tory councillor Andrew Geary, spoke, and he said basically we've worked together with the three parties all together for the last 6 years. Until now, he said, one political party has destroyed our reputation, he said, and he's talking about the Lib Dems there. He says Milton Keynes is now known as Taxigate. The Lib Dems, why the Lib Dems? Well, the ex-mayor Shaban Shafiq, who vouched for the serial rapist, is a Lib Dem. Douglas McCall is the leader of the Lib Dems. Andrew Geary was calling for him to stand down for his lack of action in this matter, and he said that basically because of his lack of action in taking a firm stand on this issue, it's been allowed to drag on since August when all this blew up, and has made basically the council and the new city a laughingstock. Andrew Geary is also calling on Stuart Burke, a fellow Lib Dem councillor, to consider his position, because he was chair of the licensing committee when this serial rapist Nadeem Kiani was granted a licence on a second occasion when it went through the committee. And Andrew Geary wasn't the only voice. He was backed up by the Labour Party. Peter Marland, who's the leader of the council now, he said this is a tragedy for the city. Both it and the council has been damaged. So some quite strong words, everyone rounding on the Lib Dems last night with both barrels.
Tony, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. It sounds like there was a little bit of the old argy-bargy verbal-wise at the meeting last night. Hey, you know Facebook? Well, it turns out it's Facebook's fault that Lee Rigby was murdered. Yeah, it's Facebook's fault. I've got to say, The Sun really is going with some bizarre front pages at the moment. Have you seen this? The Sun, Facebook accused. Lee Rigby family fury as net giant failed to report murder threat. Blood on their hands. Right, so it's Facebook's fault, is it? Do you buy into this? It's not MI5. It's not MI6. It's not GCHQ. It's Facebook's fault. Go inside. Fatal flaw. Net giant didn't flag up plot. It still won't help terror probe. Facebook is still failing to cooperate with the probe into the horrific terrorist murder of soldier Lee Rigby. It emerged last night. One of the Fusiliers' fanatical killers gloated on the social networking site. He wanted to execute a British soldier. But it's just Facebook, isn't it? They got loads of stuff to trawl through, haven't they?
Are we supposed to believe that Facebook know every single thing every single person puts on there?
I hope they don't.
People write a lot of nonsense on there.
I hope they don't.
There's a lot of pictures of cakes. There's a lot of pictures of kittens. Maybe, yes, there should be some sort of keyword thing, but really, are we blaming Facebook?
I think it's about that. Look, MI5, MI6, GCHQ, the government. When they should. It says in here this report was issued by the government yesterday, and it kind of glosses over the fact that they should have spotted at least one of these gentlemen, Adebowale, I think, in 2008 when he started doing. And I thought they had monitored these two chaps. Can't blame it on Facebook.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Checking the motorways and the M25 anti-clockwise. This is looking very slow at the moment between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. Having a look at the A1M on the CCTV cameras, it does look a little bit wet out there on the roads, so take care and beware of surface spray, reducing visibility this morning. Elsewhere in Hatfield on Great North Road, there's roadworks going on at St Albans East, and that could cause some delays this morning. And in Roxton on the A1 Great North Road, there's roadworks going on around the Black Cat roundabout, so that is likely to cause some queues in the morning rush. On the trains, so just hearing that the Bakerloo line is suspended between Stonebridge Park and Harrow and Wealdstone because of a fire alert at Wembley Central. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30, I'm Simon Oxley. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into, and there are calls for the Lib Dem leader on Milton Keynes Council to stand down in the wake of the taxi scandal.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A 2-2 draw for Milton Keynes Dons at home to Rochdale last night.
Quick could be in it now. Quick lobs the goalkeeper, and that is a wonderful goal. Here come Rochdale at the other end though, and already there's a chance. It's gone in. It's a deflected goal. It's an own goal. I think Flanagan is the guilty party.
Here's Noble Lazarus on the far side. He shoots and shoots well. And what a goal! Phobie in the area. Oh, great shot from a Phobie. Took it well, and Green gets the equaliser. And Danny Green has come on once again and got a goal for MK Dons.
So Carl Robinson's side are fourth in League One, 5 points behind leaders Bristol City, but with 2 games in hand.
At this point, he's not winning, you'll say, but we've used our game in hand to go 1 point closer, and that's all you can do. If we would have gone past this game in hand and not got anything out, we would have been even more disappointed.
Chelsea have qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League after a 5-0 win against Schalke in Germany. Manchester City came from behind to beat 10-man Bayern Munich 3-2 at the Etihad, with a hat-trick from Sergio Aguero keeping alive their hopes of progressing. Here's captain Vincent Kompany.
It's not just us. I think every team that wants to achieve special things in Europe, in the home league, need a special player, and obviously he's our special player. So when he performs like he does today, he makes a lot of things possible that normally would be difficult.
Tonight, Arsenal host Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool are away to Ludo Goretz. Watford midfielder Alman Abdi played an hour for the Hornets under-21s last night at Vicarage Road. Abdi was making his comeback after a shoulder injury he suffered a month ago. The FA are investigating after missiles were thrown onto the pitch during Luton's match at Burton on Saturday. The Hatters say any Luton supporter identified will be banned from Kenilworth Road for 6 years. Goals from Jack Jebb and Rory Deacon gave Stevenage a 2-0 win at home to Bishop Stortford in the Hearts Senior Cup last night. In Conference South, Hemel Hempstead lost 1-0 at Bath. In the Southern League Premier Division, Chesham won 3-0 at home to Hereford. And England's cricketers start their one-day series in Sri Lanka today. The first match starts at 9 a.m. our time. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
If you hear a whisper, give us a shout.
Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Angelina Jolie, who's kissed me, has said that Labour's proposed mansion tax could deter her from moving to England. Oh well. That's actually a story in the papers. Rich woman may not move to England. Oh well. Ah, well, never mind.
It's a shame for us all, isn't it?
It's a shame. I was hoping we could pick up where we left off, but never mind. The actress...
I mean, she took the honorary damehood, didn't she?
Yeah, the actress...
She doesn't want to pay our taxes.
...who is rumoured to have been house hunting in London said, I'm quite responsible about money. Mansion tax could put me off. You are a multi-flipping millionaire, and so is your husband.
With a huge social conscience. Let's remember that.
Oh, here we go. Miss Jolie made the comments last night during a trip to the UK. For the premiere of her latest film, Unbroken, she made sure she was the centre of attention on the red carpet in a rather unusual white silk two-piece by British designer Ralph and Russo. From the front, it looked like a fitted dress beneath a curious bolero cape, but the back was an even more striking affair, featuring a daring split, an array of buttons and bows. Hours earlier, the 39-year-old had been interviewed by Jon Snow on Channel 4 News. Asked about a possible move to the UK, she said, "It was just a rumour that started, and I think the rumour came before I'd even thought about it."
Oh, so the mansion tax thing was something someone threw at her that she wasn't expecting?
When asked about Mr Miliband's plans for a punitive tax on people with homes worth more than $2 million, she admitted, yeah, that could put me off.
Did they call it a punitive tax?
No, I don't think, though.
There's a lot of talk at the moment about Facebook's responsibility or shared responsibility for the murder of Fusilier Lee Rigby.
I don't get it. I do not get it. This is a front-page story on Britain's biggest-selling newspaper.
And I've seen Lee's sister on television...
She says Facebook have got, rough quote, blood on their hands. Guys.
She holds them partly responsible.
Guys, come on. Who's manipulated this woman into saying that? Wait, what do his two wives say? Are they kind of picking up on this? Facebook. I mean, OK, it's flawed, but... Do you know what? Are we going to blame... if we're going to blame Facebook, then let's blame emails... And those mobile phone companies really do have to buck up their ideas about people making phone calls and sending texts on their systems.
And Google, why did they not flag up what they were searching for?
Oh, Google! Damn you, Google! And Bebo.
What's interesting is you've got a double-page spread here in The Sun, and then here at the bottom, 3 little points, the MI5 mistakes. 1, they didn't fully investigate contact between Adibalajo and a known senior extremist with the Yemen group Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. 2, failed to issue a report on contact between Adebowale and an extremist known as SOI Charlie.
So they were watching these guys. They were watching these guys.
3, failed to ask for Adebowale's phone records, which would have revealed a link to an extremist known as Echo in the Yemen.
That's literally, a 20th of that double-page, front-page spread, a 10th maybe. The front page should be MI5, MI6 muffed it up. By the way, Facebook could perhaps done a little bit more. Not Facebook. There's another story that's kind of in a similar vein in the Mail. It's in a couple of the papers. Horrible story about a young lad. Breck Bednar was married by another lad, Lewis Daines. I think that they were both 14 years old. Certainly
was married, was murdered.
Was murdered. Did I say married?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Was murdered, right? They met playing a video game online. So the Mail the boy fatally drawn to his online friend. A bright student but socially awkward Breck Bednar was attracted by the relative anonymity of friendships formed on online forums. He and his killer, Lewis Daines, shared a passion for Battlefield 4, a violent video game played by thousands online. Players take the role of a US soldier called Daniel Recker, who battles forces controlled by a villain called Admiral Chang. It's filled with extreme realistic violence, and players can use weapons, including machine guns, grenades, sniper rifles, and knives to kill enemy soldiers. It's not realistic. It's a really, really good game. It's got an 18 rating. They were 14. That's not the reason this boy was murdered.
Also, let's just take it back to the bit where it said thousands of people play online and don't kill each other.
Well, maybe this is... I kind of make up that they're hinting there is a time bomb waiting. The kid that killed Breck Bednar, he did not kill him because of video games. There's been Hey, Daily Mail, did you not see the study last month that an American university has done that showed actually there's no link between violence and in young people and video games? People will always go nuts and kill people, whether it's because they played a video game or they've watched a film. I always say John Lennon was shot because the guy had read a book. He'd read Catcher in the Rye. So what, we ban books?
But any scenario where you are making contact with people you don't know and meeting up with them is potentially dangerous, isn't it?
You see. 08459 455 555. Do you want to do something and then we'll have a song?
Yeah, go on then. Smoking rates in young men have seen their biggest yearly rise in over a decade. I thought smoking was an old-fashioned thing.
Get in there, fellas. We still got it.
Males aged...
Got any Rizzlers?
16 to 24
got a light, mate.
Are bucking the trend of an overall national fall. So 16 to 24-year-olds. I thought they were more interested in smelling like links and stuff than smelling like fags. Yeah. 26% smoked in 2013, up from 22% in 2012. The biggest rise since comparable records began in 2000. That's still not bad. When in the 90s, everyone smoked.
Yeah.
I used to go out to the pub with my mates and I would know where they were because they would be underneath a fug of thick black smoke.
Kels, have you got any Rizzlers?
Yeah.
Yeah? You got any Golden Virginia?
Yeah.
You got any lighters?
Yep.
Should we roll cigarettes and smoke them?
Done it.
Oh.
Off again. Oh, now it's 8:30. You'll be late. Of the same mature. Though it makes good sense for you to live together. Still, you bought a toy that can reach the places he never goes. And now it's getting late. It's so strange. Just as long Do you remember the first time? I can't remember the worst time. But you know that we've changed so much since then. Oh yeah, we've grown. Now I don't care what you do. No, I don't care if you're screwing. Just as long as you say the peace for me. Oh yeah. Do you remember the first time? I can't remember the worst time. But you know that we've changed so much since then. Oh yeah, we've grown. Now I don't care what you do. No, I don't care if you're screwing. Just as long as you say the peace for me. Oh yeah. Do you remember the first time? I can't remember the worst time. But you know that we've changed so much since then. Oh yeah, we've grown. Now I don't care what you do. No, I don't care if you're screwing. Just as long as you say the peace for me. Oh yeah.
Yeah, my respect, boss, yeah?
Women in underwear does look nice.
Tongue-eating louse has been found in Morrison's fish.
I was just looking at that.
Hey! It looks like a specimen that might be served up in the celebrity jungle. But this gruesome yellow parasite, actually turned up a lot closer to home, inside a fish bought from Morrison's.
A sea bass.
I don't see bass where?
It was in the sea bass.
I don't see bass where? That was, the sea bass was, don't worry, I'll be happy. Billy Bass, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Billy Big Bass, Big Fish.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Billy Bass, Kels?
Big mouth Billy Bass.
Big mouth.
Billy Bass.
Big mouth Billy Bass. Big mouth Billy Bass. Big mouth Billy. They should make. I hope they make a comeback this Christmas. Don't worry, I'll be happy.
Did you have one?
No, my nan did.
In the toilet?
Yeah.
My granddad used to have a gnome sitting on the top of his toilet that when you dropped your keks went...
Wee! My mum had a gnome in her living room that dropped its keks and farted.
Oh!
Yeah. Aren't parents and grandparents horrible?
Aren't they common?
Linda Gray is 74.
And looking good.
She looks hot for a 74-year-old. But mind you, these pictures are in slightly soft focus.
Yeah,
Everyone looks good on Loose Women. And she had loads of makeup on and false teeth.
But fair play, 74. If, in very brightly areas with a slight squint, if I look like that, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, you would be.
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah, you would be.
3 million of us would take a pay cut to work shorter hours. That means you want to work part-time, doesn't it?
I'd do that.
1 in 10 employees feel so overworked they would happily take a pay cut if they could do fewer hours. You probably can if you ask your boss.
Yeah, can I work less hours for less money? Yeah, sure, that actually helps me out.
That's not an outrageous request, is it?
No. I imagine some people would like to work more hours for more money as well.
What if you wanted to work no hours for no money? You can do that as well, can't you? That's an option.
It's either all, some of, or none.
Yeah.
Those are the options.
I'm either going to do this job, the whole thing,
Yep.
some of it,
Yep.
or none at all.
That sounds like a great deal.
But it's up to the boss.
That's how
You've got
it
to
works.
ask.
08459 455 555. If you want to hear the recording of the dumbest burglar in the world,
Well,
he's Luton.
possibly a burglar.
Possibly.
He might just be someone who didn't know his phone number.
Then go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. Leave your comments there and we'll read them out after this.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 towards London, it's very heavy around Junction 9 for Redbourne, and Robbie has called in to tell us that it's very foggy there at the moment, which is possibly what's making it slow. On the M25, anti-clockwise is looking very busy between Junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley, and in Bricketwood on the North Orbit Road, it's also looking very heavy where the M25 meets the Junction 21A roundabout. Elsewhere, having a look at the it's starting to build up on the A1M around Stevenage, and also around Stevenage on the A602 between through Bradbury End. And looking at the train departure boards, there are no reported delays at the moment, but if you travel into London using the Bakerloo line on the Underground, it's suspended between Harrow and Wealdstone and Stonebridge Park because of a fire alert at Wembley Central. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 6:46, it's Tuesday the 26th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. And in sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale last night.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a bit of a misty and murky start across all three counties. Actually, it's a rather grey day out there, and it's not going to improve too much either. Outbreaks of rain, drizzle. It's really not pleasant at all. The maximum temperature struggling up to just 10 Celsius. It's not going to change too much overnight as well, and that includes the temperature. Staying misty, staying murky, widespread mist and fog overnight tonight, and also some outbreaks of rain and drizzle. But the minimum temperature, most places barely dropping down at all, 8 or 9 Celsius. Perhaps the coldest of spots down to around 7, but it's a mild night considering we are at the end of November. So a similar start to Thursday, another cloudy, patchy rain, mist, murk around first thing, but gradually it will start to improve, drying out through the afternoon as the southeasterly breeze starts to pick up. Temperatures similar though at around 11 Celsius. And that's your forecast.
Thank you very much indeed for that. Now, just remind us, Catherine, about this gnome that your grandfather had, because there's some interesting comments from Scott on Twitter that I can actually read today. So what did it do?
It used to sit on the, what do you call it, cistern?
Yeah.
And when you dropped your keks, it'd go...
Right, OK. Scott says... Hold on a minute. How did Kath's granddad's gnome know that you dropped your keks? Did it have a camera? Suspicious.
No, it was a motion sensor.
What was it? What motion was it sensing?
This one.
If it really... Second tweet. If it really did only whistle when you'd dropped your keks, I worry that you've been a victim of Peeping Tom.
How dare you?
Even though it's still only November, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. So today, I'm heading over to Bedford for their annual light switching on celebrations. I'll be based at the Bedford Swan Hotel, finding about all the stalls, coming face to face with some reindeer, aye, and maybe meeting the man himself.
Roberto Perrone.
Live from Bedford's Christmas Light Switch On. Today from 3 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
He could be a sinner or a gentleman. He could be a preacher when your soul is down. He could be a lawyer on a witness stand, but he'll never love you like I can. He could be a stranger you gave a second glance. He could be a trophy of a one-night stand. He could have your humor, but I don't understand, 'cause he'll never love you like I can. Why are you looking down on the wrong road when mine is the heart and the soul to the soul? Chance encounter of circumstance. Maybe he's a mantra, keeps your mind entranced. He could be the silence in this mayhem, but then again, he'll never love you like I can. I love your demons like devils can. If you're self-seeking, an honest man, and stop deceiving, Lord, please. Why are you looking down all the wrong roads? When mine is the heart and the soul to the soul. There may be lovers who hold out their hands, but they'll never love you like a friend, friend, friend. They'll never love you like a friend, friend, friend. They'll never love you like a can.
Never love you like a can-can. I don't want to know what that is.
I went. What's that? That sex club in France that's you're allowed to go
Folie
to?
Bergère?
Oh, flipping it!
Or the Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
I had a friend who was a dancer at the Folie
Oh,
Bergère.
flipping it! I've never seen such tired old dancing in my life. It was. We've paid a fortune for that, and it was rubbish.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting a bit of glitz, a bit of glamour. Not like, it was like going to Jerry Cottle's circus in 1976, but with more boob, with more nipple on
You were
show.
expecting showgirls.
I was expecting something. It was. You ever been to the Moulin Rouge, Dealey?
No. Hashtag stringies every day.
Yeah. Well, Stringies is classier than the Moulin
exactly.
Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like the film Mulan, but it was completely different.
Waste of money.
It was a waste. It cost an absolute fortune.
You know, it's not 1972 anymore. You may have the name, you've got to go with the times.
Hang on, you like stringies.
Stringies has moved with the times.
1984 then.
A £4 bottle of perfume can smell as good as Chanel.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
What scent do you use, Deals? Lynx.
I go for Lynx for the deodorant and a bit of Shaw as well, mixed in, nice little concoction there.
Wow.
And a little bit of Hugo for the aftershave.
The thing is, if you use a strong deodorant, for example, Lynx Africa, Mitchum, you have to spray it once every 2 days, Mitchum. It drains, trust me, then...
Trust me, I have to smell you.
It masks the scent of your eau de cologne.
Yeah, what happened with Insignia? They had the right idea, didn't they?
It's new Insignia, and it's all over now.
They don't do that anymore. That didn't take off, did it?
I didn't take off that. Basically, it was a shower gel, shampoo, deodorant,
and
all in one.
aftershave, one all-over smell.
Or one all-over smell. Now you've got to mix and match your smells.
You need to have it individual. One thing for this, one thing for that. You can't put it all into a one-size-fits-all when it comes to smells. You can't do that.
I use Prada. Apparently it smells like Jonathan Vernon Smith's dog. But it doesn't last very long. No,
you get used to it. It's not the same thing.
No. Well, can you smell it on me now?
I can smell something.
Well, can you smell the aftershave?
Why is it on your hand? Oh, because you did that.
Yeah, can you smell it?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't put it on today, so
no,
you're a liar.
I can't smell it at all.
You're a liar. I don't. No one does that. No one does that anymore, do they? Splash it all over. No one does that. You spray.
Oh.
That's a lot.
I had a friend who used to put perfume on the back of her knees. I don't want to know why.
It's a pulse point.
Yeah.
Pulse point. So that aroma, that's why you need a little dab at the back of the ear, and that's why we put it on our wrists, Justin. It's a pulse point.
I am very impressed,
Thank you.
But being very good at massage, that's, as you say, yes, a pulse point, also at the back of the neck as well.
You can kill a man if you hit them hard enough at the back of the knee.
Yeah, somebody said that to me once before, in quite an aggressive manner, and I walked away.
Oh.
Was it Iain?
No, it wasn't him, no. It was somebody else.
Hands up, who's been threatened by an actual, real-life murderer?
Not me, no. Somebody
Ian's
strange
hands
walking
up.
My
past.
hands up. Kelly, is your hand up?
No.
OK.
Tell us the story, Iain.
Well...
Quickly, we've got 5 minutes.
I was threatened by an actual, real-life... Oh, here we go. All right, I'm going to narrow it down even more. Let's see whose hand stays up. Who's been threatened by an actual, real-life murderer that's appeared in a Beatles film? Guys, has any hands gone up as a result of that?
Yes,
Have you
Mark
had-
I was going to put... I nearly... But then you said Beatles.
Yeah. No, what? Sorry, Justin?
Mark Chapman?
Mark Chapman didn't threaten me. And what Beatles film was he in? A Hard Day's Night? I don't think so.
He was in a video, though, wasn't he?
No.
Was it?
was in a news report.
No, he wasn't.
Was it a news report?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't. He was in
All right, calm down.
There's a photograph of him getting a record signed by John Lennon.
Okay.
I was threatened, in case you hadn't picked up on it, by an actual real-life murderer who appeared in a Beatles film.
Go on, just tell us who it was.
It was the midget from Magical Mystery Tour.
Right. You're probably asking for it.
No, I wasn't. He was being rude to Samantha Butler, who I really, really fancied. We were stood outside Les Mis on a school trip when I was 15 years old. He was being rude to her, and I fancied her, even though she was going out with Rod, who later on beat me up. Not related to this story whatsoever. And he was a homeless little tramp, little wee fella. I went, "Hey, fella," I was 15, I was cocky, I was a bit drunk. "Hey, fella, what's your language? Bit of respect." Then he turned on me. He turned. His little body turned round. He looked. He eyed me up and down. He went, "Right, you. Don't you mess with me. Do you know who I am?" I said, "No, I don't, but treat the lady with a bit of respect." He said, "I'm Little Legs." This was his name. I don't think he was christened with it. Or maybe he was, I don't know. It fitted him anyway. About the only thing that did. "I'm Little Legs, and I've killed for the Krays, the Kray twins, not for the buzz.
Yeah.
And I will kneecap you and kill you." We all laughed. The next week in the news of the world, Little Legs had been found dead. He was writing his autobiography. His story was absolutely true. He used to kneecap people for the Kray twins. He was in Magical Mystery Tour with the Beatles. He threatened to kill me.
Fun story. Anyway, what are we getting Justin on for?
Sorry?
Justin.
No, but just
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Fun story.
Yeah.
let that sink in, though.
There's a serious news story you need to get out.
It's like being threatened by the Yorkshire Ripper.
Well, no, it's not.
Well, it is.
It's not really, is it?
You survived.
I did, Justin. My physical health is intact. My mental health, I'm still not so sure about.
Still suffering all these years on.
What are we going to get Justin to do? Talk about my murder story?
No, I thought we were going to do homophobic abuse.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It feels wrong now.
Homophobic abuse always feels wrong, Catherine.
Of course it is, because it is wrong.
There has been an increase in homophobic abuse, Justin, in this area. We'll be looking at the stats just after 7 o'clock. What are we going to get Justin to ask about it, Catherine?
Are they surprised?
Okay.
People surprised.
Can you take that to the streets?
I'll take that to the streets, and later, just to flag something up, a shocking story. A lady in Hemel Hempstead, on her bike, going along the canal there, an unprovoked attack. Somebody pushed her in the canal. I've been down to the canal talking to locals. Some are very shocked about this. Others can totally understand how this happened. You'll hear that report before 8.
Shocking story.
Justin, thank you very much indeed. We'll speak to you later on, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, blimey.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Having a look at the motorways on the CCTV cameras, and the M1 southbound's very heavy around junction 13 for Milton Keynes South, and on the M1 as well between around junction 9 for Redbourne. It's much heavier than usual around there. Caller Robbie told us that it's very foggy as well, which is possibly what's making it slow. Having a look at the M25 anti-clockwise, it's very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley, and on the A1M southbound, it's very heavy between junction 3 for St Albans and 2 for Welham Green. Elsewhere in Luton on Vauxhall Way, the hearing reports that it's partially blocked because of a car that's broken down on the roundabout at Harrodon Road. And in High Wycombe, Marlow Hill has some temporary traffic lights at the junction for Marlow Road, and that is very likely to cause some delays later on. Looking at the train departure boards, and there's no reports of any delays at the moment, but if you travel into London using the Bakerloo line, it's suspended between Harrow and Wilston and Stonebridge Park. Samantha Breath,
Bruffy! Oh, you break my heart every time you mention another radio station. She did a talk sport again, guys.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: homophobic crime on the increase in beds and hearts. Suspected burglar recorded ringing for a taxi. And Milton Keynes Dons have to settle for a point.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, according to new research. But the Thames Valley Police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, shows a fall in the past 2 years. More from Ewan Duncan.
In Hertfordshire, the problem's doubled in the past 12 months, from 8 offences to 16, while while in Bedfordshire it went up from 6 to 10. The Thames Valley Police area shows a fall in the number of offences from 42 in 2013 to 29. The numbers are based on a Press Association Freedom of Information Act request and go up to the end of October this year.
Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. The man dialed 2 taxi firms from the landline in the house at Woadcroft Road last month, but hung up after he was asked for his number. A flat-screen television and other electrical items were stolen. Bedfordshire Police want anyone who recognises the man's voice to contact them.
Here, I can help you. Can I have a taxi, please? Where from? What's your contact number? This one here. You're in a private number, bro. Is it on private? Yeah. I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
A new report says there's anger and frustration that people with learning disabilities are still being placed in institutional care rather than being looked after in the community. It accuses ministers of missing a deadline for transforming care in the wake of the Winterbourne View scandal 3 years ago, which exposed the abuse of patients at a private hospital. Protests are taking place across America over the decision not to prosecute a white police officer who shot dead an unarmed black teenager. The officer has told American television he had no choice but to open fire when the teenager charged towards him. Police are appealing for witnesses after a cyclist was pushed into the canal in Hemel Hempstead. The 29-year-old woman was cycling on the towpath off Two Waters Road at around 5 p.m. last Friday when a man pushed her and her bike into the Grand Union Canal. There are calls for the Lib Dem leader on Milton Keynes Council to stand down in the wake of the taxi scandal. Former Tory leader Andrew Geary says Douglas McCall was too slow to take action after ex-mayor and Lib Dem Subhan Shafiq was found to have vouched for a serial rapist to be a taxi driver.
Frankly, he has shown no leadership at all. He could have stopped this before it started by telling those who were guilty just to get out, and we could have held our heads high and moved on. This has dragged on because of his lack of action. And frankly, his position is no longer tenable.
In sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale in League One last night. Will Grigg gave the Dons the lead, but they needed a Danny Green equaliser to earn a point. And in the Champions League, Manchester City came from behind to beat 10-man Bayern Munich 3-2, with a hat-trick from Sergio Aguero, keeping alive their hopes of progressing. The weather dull and overcast with outbreaks of rain, a maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Today on BBC Three Counties Radio.
From 9.
The JVS Show.
With the big phone in, the hottest topic of the day, and your consumer problems.
From 12.
Nick Coffer.
Film critic Barry Norman talks about an evening of film soundtrack music that he's hosting at the Corn Exchange in Bedford.
From 3.
Roberto Peroni.
I'm here with a roundup of the day's news, the latest travel and your stories.
From 7.
Mark Forrest.
I'll bring you the best bits from everything that's been happening on BBC Local Radio.
Today on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Coming up, rise in homophobic attacks. Well, it's doubled, but only to something like 16, 17, 18. Not that that's justifiable at all, but does it mean perhaps we're winning the war against homophobia? Woman pushed into canal on bike, and someone who may be the dumbest burglar in the world. We've got a great recording of someone that the police are suggesting may be a burglar, phoning up for a cab from the house he's just robbed. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555 is the phone number if you want to give us a call. Now, violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. That's according to new research. In Herts, the problem has doubled in the past 12 months from 8 to 16. While in Beds, it went up from 6 to 10. A Freedom of Information request for the Press Association reveals. Well, the Thames Valley Police area shows a fall in the number of offences from 42 in 2013 to 29 up to the end of last month. Well, Richard Lane is the spokesperson for the lesbian, gay and bisexual charity Stonewall. Morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Now, one is too many. But 16 in a year, to me, I know it's double what it was. It doesn't sound. It's not as high as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, of course. What we would caution is that we've done some pretty detailed YouGov polling that showed that 3/4 of people who had experienced homophobic abuse, and that's anything from being abused in terms of name calling and things like that on the street to really violent crime, actually don't report it to the police anyway. So we would caution that these figures, whilst shocking anyway, are probably a little bit low in terms of the reality.
Why don't people report it?
I think it's fair to say that probably in the past the gay community and the police probably haven't had the most comfortable of relationships. Some people feel that they won't be taken seriously. Some people feel that the police won't care, and that they won't be believed. So we would caution that that's certainly not true. The police do want to hear about these cases, and a number of police forces have been very clear that they need to hear about this. And we would also say that some of the increasing figures is that people are more comfortable now in coming forward and reporting this.
Yeah, because I thought, maybe I'm naive, and perhaps I am slightly, because I work in a sort of media world. I lived in London for a long time, where you kind of forget that if you live in London or near London, you're sort of in a little bit of a bubble, and in some places it's still, not acceptable, but people still do shout homophobic abuse and are scared of gay people.
Yeah, and actually, I would caution getting into London, for example, the figures in London remain pretty shocking, and I think there might be a little bit of complacency in terms of London is a great, cool metropolitan city and that it's all fine. Well, actually, that's not the case in terms of the figures, and, we might have been able to get legal equality, but changing hearts and minds is another matter.
Did that have an effect, do you think, that gay people being allowed to marry? Because I know we on this show, we had lots of people who were quite angry that gay people have been allowed to marry. Do you think that may have been a backlash against that?
I mean, certainly some of the vitriol that we saw against
Richard?
I think certainly some of the vitriol that we saw in terms of the public debate almost did kind of push that level of abuse back into the public space that we hadn't seen for a while, in terms of people being able to criticise people. I mean, we saw members of the House of Lords and MPs comparing loving, committed relationships to bestiality, for example, which, sends a pretty damaging message.
Yeah, it does slightly. Apparently my marriage has been demeaned by the fact that gay people can get married. Never mind. What do the police need to do differently, if anything, Richard, in tackling these kind of crimes?
I think we need to continue seeing the really clear message that actually we will take this seriously. We do want you to report it, and we are seeing that from police forces. Again, like I said, that some of this increase will be that people just feel a little bit more comfortable with being able to come forward and report it. We need people to be clear that actually, if you don't feel able to go to the police, you can tell a friend, a member of your family, a work colleague who can report it for you as well. So just keeping up those clear messages and telling people that, we will take you seriously, we will listen, and we are here to help.
Richard, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much. Richard Lane from Stonewall.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
459 455 555 is the phone number if you want to give us a call. Hey, we talked briefly about the programme last night about the paedophiles living next door. Do you remember? We spoke to the doctor who was wanting to treat paedophiles. I didn't see the programme last night. I missed it. I had two very, very naughty boys jumping about on my plums, if I'm completely honest. That's what was going on. Two boys jumping about on my plums, and then when they calmed down, one threw up all over me, so I didn't get to see it. If you saw it, could you give us a call and let us know your thoughts, please? Because I'd be keen to know. Remember, there was a gentleman who identified himself as a paedophile called Eddie, and I just wondered if your reaction was different after having seen the programme. James is in Milton Keynes. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Ian. How are you doing this morning?
I'm not really feeling the vibe, if I'm honest, James. I'm feeling a little bit off colour, so to speak. But we'll get there. What can I do for you?
I just wonder, if you're feeling a little bit off colour, I was wondering, how old are you feeling today?
Hey, that's a really good question. How old am I feeling today? I'm feeling
obviously every day is different, isn't it? And I was just wondering, with all the hands up, who's been threatened, who's getting by murderer, I thought you might be feeling very young.
I'm feeling about 12 today, James.
I was going to say, that's probably accurate.
That's not a bad... Do you know what? That's not a bad question. How old are you feeling today, James?
Yeah, to be honest, it's an exciting day for me, so I'm actually feeling about 9.
What's happening today, then?
I've got a job at my first massive client, so it's a very big... It's a small job, but big client, so I'm very excited.
Oh, are you allowed to tell us what you do, or is it top secret?
Oh, I wouldn't have to hurt you or anything, but no, I can tell you what I do, that's not a problem.
Go on, then.
I install TV, satellite, aerial sort of systems and AV, that's what I do.
So it's a small job, but it's a big client?
Yeah, I've got a free-sat installation to do at the Tate Britain this morning.
Ooh! No wonder you feel 9 years old. Hey, that's brilliant.
Hey, bit of a name dropper.
That's very, very exciting.
It is.
Is there a chance of getting more work out of it, or are you just chuffed at the fact that Tate Britain are interested in you?
Well, I'm chuffed about that, but you never know. It might lead to more things. I wouldn't want to kind of put all my eggs in one basket, but you never know.
Hey, James, well, listen, thank you for that. And also, I do like that. What age are you feeling? Well, I'm going to nick that if you don't mind.
Yeah, go on, you can borrow that for a week, but next week I'll need it back again.
James, thank you very much. I like that. How old are you feeling?
About 14.
Yeah, I'm about 12 today.
Yeah.
Kelly, how old are you feeling?
Always 9.
Okay, there we go. I like that. It's a good question, James. Doesn't really take us anywhere, but I know Dealey's out and about. Maybe we can just get him to go up to people and ask them how old they're feeling.
Yeah.
That would be nice. 08459 455 555. Thank you. Now, it's been a long time since I went to the Raffles School of Gentlemen Cat Burglars. I got kicked out of there in disgrace. But I seem to remember there are a few... Apparently, you're not supposed to leave a calling card like the Pink Panther, and yet I wanted to do that as my trademark, and they said
I thought that was the thing. You had to do it on a silver salver.
No, they don't let you do that anymore. But there are a few golden rules when it comes to being a crook, and not calling a taxi from the scene of the crime is a biggie. 2-pack. And yet it seems some plum has done that after burgling a house in Luton. Catherine's got the details. We've got this fella on tape, haven't we?
Yeah,
I love this. I love it.
Bedfordshire Police have released this tape in the hope that someone will recognise it and tell them who it is. What we do know is this fella called for a taxi in Woadcroft Road in Luton in the early hours of Saturday, October 25th. A home in that street had been burgled during the same night, and offenders stole a number of electrical items, including a massive telly. The taxi firm recorded the audio because the caller couldn't identify the number he was calling from. They thought it sounded odd.
Have a listen to this.
Spearhead, I can help you.
Can I have a taxi, please?
Where from? What's your contact number?
This one here.
Give me a private number, bruv.
Huh? Is it on private?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
Give me a mobile number, innit?
079.
Yep.
No, sorry, 078.
078.
94.
94.
Oh, hang on, I don't even know that. No, boss, it's alright, it's alright.
It sounds as if he just caught himself giving his personal mobile number out.
What
Thought, hang on a minute, what did they teach me at the school of cat burglary? I mean, it may be that this is a burglar. The police at the moment are not saying that. They're just saying that they believe he may have some information.
But then he makes another phone call.
Yeah, he thinks, right, I'll phone back. This time, I'll get round the old phone number thing.
Hello, I can help you.
Yeah, can I have a taxi, please, mate?
Same call centre, man.
Oh, is it the same call centre?
Yeah.
No, that'll do without a number.
No, we take numbers so the calls are recorded as well, innit?
Alright, no worries. Yeah. Cool.
You can hear him thinking there, because the fella just says, yeah, the calls are recorded too. Cool, bruv.
Cogs turning.
Nuts. So what are the police saying about this plumber?
They're not going to go as far as to say that this is their man, but Detective Constable Scott Hannam says they believe the man may have important information which could assist their investigation. He says, I would urge anyone who recognises the voice or the man himself to contact police. And Scott Hannam is also keen to hear from anyone who has any information or saw a large television being carried around the Woadcroft Road area the night in question. If you can do either of those things, you need to call 101.
If you want to hear the audio again, it's on facebook.com/BBC3CR. I would urge you to, for two reasons, to share it with all of your friends. One, because it might help catch this fella, and two, because it's really funny. It is really funny, isn't it? What a plum. It's also at BBC3CR or at Iain Lee.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Luton, Vauxhall Way is partially blocked because the car's broken down at Harrodon Road on the roundabout. That's causing some delays. In Cheshunt on the A10 southbound, it's looking very heavy at the moment on the speed sensors between the Great Cambridge Road at Turnford and the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. And on the A1 southbound, it's looking very heavy now between the St Neots junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks. Having a look at the motorways, and the M1 southbound's very heavy around junction 13 for Milton Keynes South, and it's also looking very busy around junction 9 for Redbourne, with callers reporting that it's very foggy in the area at the moment, reducing visibility. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's looking very slow now between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. And having a look at the trains, there's no reports of any major problems, but on the London Underground, if you use that to travel into London, it's suspended between Harrow and Wealdstone and Stonebridge Park because of a fire alert. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, thank you, Samantha. 7:16. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. And in sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale last night.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, I can help you.
Yeah, can I have a taxi, please, mate?
Same call centre, man.
Oh, is it the same call centre?
Yeah.
No, that'll do about a number.
No, we take numbers out so the calls are recorded as well, innit?
Alright, no worries. Cool.
We've all got a horror story about a delivery, letter or a parcel.
I waited in all day for it to be delivered, but it never arrived.
I paid for first-class stamps, but it still took 4 days to arrive. What was the point?
And on Monday, we're going to find out why.
The JVS Show.
I'll be joined by John Mayer, the man responsible for Royal Mail across Beds, Herts and Bucks. And you can ask him whatever you want.
Why does the price of stamps keep going up so much?
If you've got a question, email it to jvsshow@bbc.co.uk and we'll get as many of your points put to him as possible. A JVS Show Royal Mail special, Monday from 9, here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
An internal council report into why a serial rapist was allowed to become a taxi driver in Milton Keynes was discussed last night. The ex-mayor of Milton Keynes, Subhan Shafiq, who vouched for him, has since stood down altogether from the council. Well, the issue came to light back in August, and last night was an opportunity for councillors to fully debate what happened. Labour councillor Brian White sits on the audit committee. What questions did you ask of the chief executive, Carol Mills?
Well, the committee last night received a report, and I think it's important to say that what the audit committee report showed was that this was a complete lack of judgment by some people. There were also some issues that needed to be resolved, and one of them is to make sure that we treat the committee seriously, that we give proper training, and then on Monday there was a whole series of training of the new councillors on that. So there was a whole series of questions asked last night, ranging from, well, when did it come to light? How have you done it? What are the actions for going forward?
What are the actions for going forward?
Well, there's been a complete change in committee members. The policy has already changed. The Cabinet in September, and will change. There'll be further changes in December as a result of the report last night. There will be changes in the oversight of that committee, and every single taxi driver will have been through a recheck of their...
How's that going? Where are we with that?
Well, we've done a number, I'm not sure the exact numbers, but 400 or 500 out of the 1,300. So it's a question of moving forward and doing that as quickly as possible.
Okay. Do we have a date for when that will be done?
At the end of February will be when we'll have completed everybody.
Completed. Okay.
But we've prioritised those who had the most issues that we were aware of.
What do you mean by issues?
Well, they had criminal record on their DBS check, or what I used to call a CRB check, but they cancelled. Every driver has to have a criminal record check.
How many drivers have got criminal records?
Well, there was a survey done of the whole country, and they reckon that it's something like 40% of all men between 15 and 50 have a criminal record of some kind.
How many Milton Keynes cab drivers have got criminal records?
I can't answer that question because I can't remember. I was given that figure, but I can't remember what it is offhand. But it's when you're talking about criminal records, it can be for a traffic violation, it can be for anything. Of the drivers who have got serious issues, the council has already taken action against those licence holders and removed licences from a number.
So there are no people with convictions for sexual crimes working as cab drivers in Milton Keynes anymore?
What the policy is that it's not the policy of Milton Keynes Council to issue licences to people who are not fit to drive. And the very first question, and the training that was given on Monday to new councillors...
Well, that's the new...
The first question that you have to ask is, would you put your sister, your mother, your daughter, your brother in this person's care?
Yeah.
And that's the very first question. This was an issue of judgment. They got it wrong.
So there are no cab drivers. There are no cab drivers in Milton Keynes now who have got convictions for sexual crimes.
We are checking every single taxi driver, and where there is an issue, they will be reviewed, and if it's appropriate, the licence withdrawn.
So there might be taxi drivers in Milton Keynes who have got convictions for sexual crimes.
We're not aware of any.
But you're not aware. But you just said you don't know what all those crimes are. So there might be.
Yeah. So what we're saying is we are checking every single person. Now, 99% of those taxi drivers are honest, decent people, and they've had their reputation damaged by this, as has the whole city, as has the council. So the question that the audit committee had to address last night was, first of all, find out what happened. The report demonstrates that. And then, how do you rebuild reputations? Reputations are built up over years and can be destroyed in an instant. It has been destroyed. So the question the audit committee asked last night was, what are the steps that we need to take to rebuild that reputation?
So just to clarify, that there might be, you don't know if there are or not, there might be cab drivers
what we're doing
in Milton Keynes who've got convictions for sexual crimes.
We're not aware of any.
So there might be.
We've done the checks, so... Okay. Therefore, what we're doing is checking every single person.
Okay, just to make sure that there aren't any that have got convictions for sexual crimes.
Or anything that we should be...
So there might be.
So what we've done is said that the people that were reported originally, we've been through those, and we're going through every single taxi driver.
So you don't know...
And those people who had issues, a number of licences have been handed in and are not driving in Milton Keynes. Everybody else is having their records checked, and they're having to bring in their criminal record.
Okay. So you don't know. You don't know. Hopefully there aren't any cab drivers in Milton Keynes that got sexual crimes, but as you just said, you don't know for sure.
Well, nobody knows, and one of the reasons that we're doing it is to make sure that there isn't, and that's a process that takes time.
Would you feel comfortable if your wife got a cab in Milton Keynes?
At this moment, yes.
You would.
But what more important is that we actually take the steps to make sure that this could never happen again.
Are you going to stop councillors from making personal recommendations for drivers? Because they are open to, it could be said corruption or persuasion from outside forces.
Well, one of the things that came out of this incident was the over-reliance on a reference from a councillor. And I think that was an issue of bad judgment.
So will you stop councillors doing that?
I don't think it's right that councillors should do it. One of the issues that the Licensing Regulation Committee will look at on the 10th of December as a result of the recommendations last night is that issue.
Douglas McCall, the Lib Dem leader, stood up for Subhan Shafiq for a long time, even gave him another prominent job. Should Douglas McCall step down?
I'm not going to get into... slagging off individual councillors. I think what we all need to do, we all need to take responsibility for this. If it had been me, I'd have stood down immediately. but I think it's important that what we do now...
So he should stand down?
Well, I would have done. That's all I can say.
Okay.
If it had been me, I would have done that. But I can't tell another political party what to do, and nor would it be right to do so. But I think it was an error of judgment. I think there were a series of errors of judgment. I think what the council is doing, with both the chief exec and the leader, is to actually try and rebuild the reputation of Milton Keynes. And a number of steps have been taken to do that.
Can that reputation be rebuilt as long as Mr McCall is the Lib Dem leader?
Well, it's up to them to decide who their leader is, and it's up to the people of Milton Keynes to decide who councillors are.
But can the reputation of Milton Keynes Council, which you've said has been damaged, can that be rebuilt with someone whose judgment, as you said, was so clearly wrong?
What you're trying to do is to get me to attack another political party, and I'm not prepared to do that.
I'm just trying to get you to answer a question, Brian, which you've been slightly reluctant to do for the last 10 minutes.
It's because I'm not going to go and slag off somebody. I think it's up to each of us individually and as our own political parties to take responsibility. We have taken responsibility for what's happened. We are trying to rebuild it, and we will do that moving forward.
With Mr McCall on board,
well,
despite his poor judgment and supporting someone that's now resigned.
He's currently a councillor. He's currently leader of a group.
And you back him as a councillor?
We are where we are, and we need to actually move forward.
But you're not. I know we need to move forward. That's why I'm asking you questions, Brian. Can you move forward with Mr McCall there?
Well, I can't tell the Liberal Democrats.
I'm not asking you to tell them what to do. I'm asking for your opinion. Do you think Mr McCall deserves to keep his job?
I think anybody who makes errors of judgment should be held accountable. And if you make an error of judgment, and if it had been me, I would have resigned.
Brian, thank you very much indeed. That's Labour councillor Brian White, who sits on the audit committee. I'm not trying to make anybody say anything. I'm just trying to get some answers, that's all. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Just a reminder, we've been playing a recording all morning of someone who police would like to talk to. Not saying he's definitely a crook. I think they're saying he's definitely a plum. It is suspected that this gentleman's voice is of someone who may have robbed some houses, phoning up from one of the houses he may have robbed, asking for a cab. If you want to hear it, facebook.com/BBC3CR. Go and share it, because A, it's a good thing to do, and B, it's funny. It is funny, isn't it? What a... Not a plum. So
Careful.
What a naughty boy, I was going to say.
If he did manage to get the taxi,
Yeah.
and then the taxi pulled up outside the house,
Yeah.
and then the guy gets in the back with a telly and all this sort of stuff.
Kettles, DVDs, slippers.
What do you think the taxi driver would do?
Where to, boss?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Does
where
that
to,
help?
boss? Yeah, because taxi drivers don't ask any questions.
I find it really odd that taxi driver would have reported it. Because they must get some right while he's phoning up, not knowing their phone numbers are. They must have had a suspicion.
Well, I remember back in the day at college...
Do you want to tell this story?
Probably shouldn't, actually, no.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M25 clockwise is queuing between junction 22 for St Albans and 23 for the A1M. It's looking very busy around there, and the A1M southbound's very heavy between junction 7 for Stevenage and 6 for Welwyn Garden City. Having a look at the M1 southbound as well, it's very heavy between the M1 junction 10 at Luton Airport Spur Road and junction 7 for Hemel Hempstead. And in Luton, Vauxhall Way is partially blocked at Harrowden Road on the roundabout because a car's broken down there. That's causing some delays through the area. Having a look at the A1 southbound, it's looking very heavy at the moment between the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks. And in Cheshunt, the A10 southbound's looking very busy between the Great Cambridge Road and the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. Having a look at the trains, there's no reports of any major delays, but if you're using the Bakerloo line on the London Underground, it's suspended between Harrow and Wealdstone and Stonebridge Park because of a fire alert. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30, I'm Simon Oxley. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into, and protests are taking place across America over the decision not to prosecute a white police officer who shot dead an unarmed black teenager.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
And a 2-2 draw for Milton Keynes Dons at home to Rochdale last night.
Quick could be in it now. Quick lob to the goalkeeper, and that is a wonderful goal. Here come Rochdale at the other end though, and already there's a chance. It's gone in. It's a deflected goal. It's an own goal. I think Flanagan is the guilty party.
Here's Noble Lazarus on the far side. He shoots and shoots well. What a goal! Foby in the area. Oh, great shot from a Foby. Took it well, and Green gets the equaliser. And Danny Green has come on once again and got a goal for MK Dons.
So Carl Robinson's side 4th in League One, 5 points behind leaders Bristol City, but with 2 games in hand.
It's disappointing he's not winning, you'll say, but we've used our game in hand to go 1 point closer, and that's all you can do. If we would have gone past this game in hand and not got anything out of it, we would have been even more disappointed.
Chelsea have qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League after a 5-0 win against Schalke in Germany. Manchester City came from behind to beat 10-man Bayern Munich 3-2 at the Etihad, with a hat-trick from Sergio Aguero keeping alive their hopes of progressing. Here's captain Vincent Kompany.
It's not just us. I think every team that wants to achieve special things in Europe, in the home league, need a special player, and obviously he's our special player. So when he performs like he does today, he makes a lot of things possible that normally would be difficult.
Tonight, Arsenal host Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool are away to Ludo Goretz. Watford midfielder Alman Abdi played an hour for the Hornets under-21s last night at Vicarage Road. Abdi was making his comeback after a shoulder injury he suffered a month ago. The FA are investigating after missiles were thrown onto the pitch during Luton's match at Burton on Saturday. The Hatters say any Luton supporter identified will be banned from Kenilworth Road for 6 years. Goals from Jack Jebb and Rory Deacon gave Stevenage a 2-0 win at home to Bishop Stortford in the Hearts Senior Cup last night. In Conference South, Hemel Hempstead lost 1-0 at Bath. In the Southern League Premier Division, Chesham won 3-0 at home to Hereford. And England's cricketers start their one-day series in Sri Lanka today. The first match starts at 9 o'clock this morning, our time. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Could you have had a steam? Have you just had a steam? Have you just had a steam? A steam? A steam? A steam? Have you just had a steam? A steam?
I had a steam this morning, yeah.
What's your beef, Boyle? Oh, keep spilling coffee everywhere.
Stop it. Stop it. And will you stop saying that as well? Because I keep getting plums come up to me saying that.
What?
What's your beef, Boyle? Hey, Boyle, what's your beef?
That's going to be your spin-off show. When this series gets cancelled, then you'll get one series, 6 episodes of What's Your Beef, Boyle?
Beef? I very rarely have beef. I've just got a surly attitude, generally.
You've been really cobby the last 2 years.
The last 37 years, yeah.
What about the 6 years before that? I'm not really in the mood to do the show today.
No, well, but you must, and you must speak to Dennis, who's on the line now.
Why do I want to speak to Dennis? There'll be a horrible echo and he'll be miserable.
Well, let's give him a try.
There's the echo. Dennis!
Yes?
Yeah, you're right.
What do you want? What do you want?
Listen.
I feel 25 this morning.
Dennis, we don't have to do this if you don't want.
No, that's quite all right.
Oh.
You made me laugh this morning, I must admit.
Oh! First time for everything?
Well, no, it was only reporting this idiot burglar. Where the hell was he going to take that big television? I mean, having got a cab, he's got to tell the cab where to go.
Yeah.
So is he going to park it outside his house while he struggles in with this damned... The man was an idiot. If they catch him, they should send him to an asylum.
I don't think he'd thought the whole thing through.
He don't know. A burglar, surely. A cat burglar like that in the middle of the night, puts things in his pocket, that's all that he can walk out with. He doesn't walk out with a damn big television.
So romantic. Here's the thing. Why do, when we are laughing at poor people who get benefits, as we're often encouraged to do by various newspapers, why, when it's listing their assets that cost a fortune, why does it always say flat screen TV? All TVs are flat. Bless you. All TVs are flat screen now. They only cost like £100.
No, they're curved now. Some of them are curved.
Oh.
Get with the programme, Daddy.
I had a dream I was in Australia last night at a hostel, and their flat screen TV was broken, but it used to be mine. And then they were trying to murder me.
That's not a dream.
What?
That's a really, really boring story.
Yeah.
Other people's dreams are really boring. Just ask Martin Luther King.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
What?
Mate.
Dennis.
Yes?
Anything else?
Not really, No, I just said you wanted to know how people felt.
How old you are, yes.
25.
OK, thank you very much indeed. We're asking, how old do you feel this morning? What's wrong with your eyebrow, mate? What's your eyebrow beef?
I think I've been bashed in the eye.
Hey?
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably by a child.
Sorry.
Feels like a pointy injury.
Finger?
No,
Ian,
probably an elbow.
What is that finger you have?
That's mine.
It's Kath's spare bird.
It's out of the Beano, the Halloween edition.
This is what I don't like
gory,
about
isn't it?
comics these days, right? Because you used to get a gift in a comic maybe once every 3 months.
And what would it be? Bit of Highland toffee, one of those folded up bits of paper that goes thwack.
But now there's a gift. The kids don't choose the comic on the story, on the characters. They choose it on the gift.
But the Beano, that's unusual for the Beano to do a free gift. They're quite good. They're based
Come here, I want to word with you. You, come here. You, come here.
Barbie magazine or Hello Kitty, and you're paying for a piece of plastic that is going to be really annoying. It's going to have loads of bits.
Stickers and toys. Stickers and toys.
That's what they choose on the basis of.
Stickers and toys. Stickers and toys. Oh, stickers and toys. Stickers and toys. Stickers and toys. Stickers and toys. Stickers and toys.
That sounded like a madrigal.
Yeah, because I'm brilliant. I'm magic.
I think I've got a problem. Whenever you sing,
Yep.
I instantly join in, even though I never know the words.
You missed this yesterday.
What?
Dealey's we're going to go big time this year. We didn't follow the marketing. This time we're going to go big on Christmas time, la 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 la.
No.
Dealey is going to take this turntable hit to the streets, and we are going to make pounds. I'm looking for a banking. Pounds. I'm looking for a good time.
That song's rubbish.
What song?
As is Christmas time, la 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 la. Hey, we've got some
yeah, go on, because we haven't got any content.
Steve says, any news about the guy attacked by the rhino last week? Stephen Hemmel, we'll find out. I presume he's still in hospital.
Yeah.
And again, I've tried 2 days in a row to find out any news of the guy gored by a rhino. Does nobody care? Says Stephen Hemmel. Yes, we do care. We'll find out. Robin Watford has a question.
Christmas time. La 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 la. Christmas.
It's not even December.
La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time.
I hate this.
La 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 la.
I hate this time of year.
Christmas time.
It's making me hate Christmas.
La 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 la. It's Christmas time.
Are you really?
La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la
To
la.
water over.
Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la.
It's Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la. It's Christmas time. La 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 la.
Make it stop.
What, the silence? Yeah, I can do that. It's Christmas.
Oh, no! Come on, let me read the text. If that burglar is so stupid, how come they haven't found him yet?
Oh!
Capture for 2 months, says Robin Watford. No, 1 month. But nice try.
Touche.
Maffin Hanslope, he sounds so thick, he'll probably call in and say it sounds like himself. What a numb person, says Maff.
You can say numpty.
No, he wasn't saying that.
What? A numbum?
No. Things squirrels like.
Oh, numbnuts.
You can't say that.
Pat says, all right, on a different subject.
Yes, at last.
This Labour councillor, Brian White, does not know if there are any more taxi drivers with sexual offences, and it will take time to find out. No, it does not take time to call taxi drivers immediately to produce their CRB checks, or whatever they're called now. The council licensing officers can do it straight away. This Labour councillor is the first politician not to criticise another political party in history, but amongst many he will never give a direct answer to a question. He should resign. Oh, now he's being called for his resignation. He should resign along with a whole mob.
They can't all resign.
He did not resolve this issue, and losing fares for taxi drivers in Milton Keynes due to them all dragging their heels, says Pat, who's crazy about it. You're a plum. If you start the Christmas song, you're going to loss a listener. It made me cringe, says Craig.
La 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 la.
You're going to loss a listener.
Christmas time. La 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 la.
You're lossing Craig.
Women should worship page 3.
Don't be ridiculous.
Who's on it?
No, this is by Emily Clarkson. She's a feminist.
And the daughter of
Jeremy Clarkson.
Is it? Who would have thought she'd be a feminist?
Rarely does a day go by without a row breaking out over women's body sizes. However, it's not blokes making catty comments online and in print, but women. The Sun has campaigned for the catwalk to embrace curvy girls, such as Page 3's Lucy Left. Wow. Rather than skinny models. Here, one feminist writer urges women to do the same.
Excuse me. Feminist writer. Is this her first article? She got it in The Sun. Not many young writers do that, unless they're Jeremy Clarkson's daughter and they're saying something ridiculous.
Women should worship Page 3.
There you go.
Ladies, says Emily Clarkson. Is it important that she's Jeremy Clarkson's daughter?
Well, and she's calling us ladies as well. That sounds like...
Well, no, seriously. Is it
I would
important?
suggest that she wouldn't have got in the paper if she wasn't Jeremy Clarkson's daughter.
Yeah, she's got a way in.
But, well, we've not read the piece. We don't know if it could be excellent.
Do you know where my first piece went? Warrington Guardian. Didn't go straight into The Sun, Page 3.
I know exactly where your first piece went.
Oh, wow. Your jeans are really riding very low.
I'm a batty rider. When your jeans are riding low like prisoners.
That's not what that means.
What's the phrase then? I thought it was that.
A low rider?
OK, that's it.
Not really sure.
A low rider.
Anyway, what's Miss Clarkson saying? I'm sure it's really informed.
Ladies, it's time for a nasty amnesty. She speak your language.
It's the ladies' perspective.
Yes.
Feminists,
we need the jingle.
Feminists do address each other with the word
I'm
ladies.
talking about the constant harping criticism and judgment of other women.
I'm doing it now.
Just hand those opinions over, girls. No consequences. Try as we might to blame them, it's not men killing the curvy women.
Does she
it's
say
us.
sisters in there?
No.
Does she say sisters?
She won't say sisters, she'll say chicks.
Oh.
Men didn't come up with the idea of thinspiration. Men don't understand the thigh gap. I don't. For years we've acknowledged and tried to fight the size zero is normal society, but perhaps not looked deep enough to find it. Did you know that Adele was on the cover of the worst-selling issue of Vogue magazine? This is the woman with 10 Grammy Awards, 12 Billboard Awards, a Golden Globe and an Oscar, and a baby, and a husband that loves her. Did you also know that Beyoncé's cover of Vogue outsold Michelle Obama's? Well, of course you do. You bought it.
Didn't.
Because it's not men buying these mags. They don't care that the cape has come back or what moisturiser will sort out this winter. Do you know what men...
So thus dismissing the whole female magazine market.
Do you know what men do buy, though, en masse, every day? The Sun newspaper. That's what. The Sun. Home of Page 3 girls. And what do all these women have? Boobs and hips and smiles.
And they have them out.
So basically, she's going on to say, it's a long old piece, you know what they say? You know what they are? Gorgeous, healthy, confident, happy women. So why do some people have such a beef with it? Why are feminists criticising it all the time? I'm a feminist and I love it.
I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Because these women, how old is Lacey? I'm
going to say 23.
Does it not say? Normally it says.
Well, it's not a proper...
Sometimes it gives her a ridiculous thing that she's supposed to have said just to take the mickey out of her further.
Let's see. Lacey is 22, yeah.
OK, 22. How old do you think the general readership of that newspaper is? I mean, not mentally.
55?
Yeah. Is that OK?
I've got to the point where I'm more conscious of other women looking at what I'm wearing on the street than I am of men looking at my bum. I'm scared of these women. We need to stop this. We need to pull ourselves together, girls. We need to be proud of each other and happy for each other. If we can't even fight for one another, what chance do we stand? Wow, that's the weirdest, most nonsensical defence of Page 3 I've ever heard in my life. Peter's in Walmer Green. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
What would you like to have a whinge about this morning?
I just wanted to point out to you that I did an advert several years ago, and there was 4 of the Page 3 girls there then, and now size zeros. They're very tiny girls. Maybe the parts of them don't look tiny, but they really are.
What does size 0 mean, Peter?
Very small.
No.
Perts, if you like.
It doesn't mean pert. The Page 3 girls, they're generally quite short. They're normally about 5'2".
Yeah. Very slim.
Yeah, very, very slim.
And very tiny.
All right. What?
Backsides.
Yeah. All right, Peter. Sounds like you had a good old look.
Well, no, not really.
What advert were you doing with a load of Page 3 models?
We did the one where they fired the cannons in the film. Then that sort of long advert.
What
for the Sun?
What on earth are you talking about?
There was an advert they did.
Yes.
Where they, at the end of the advert, they fired a couple of cannon.
Yeah.
And they had
bouncers.
crowds of different people there.
Yeah.
Bowlers, etc., etc. All sorts of people.
Bowlers, etc., etc. Yeah.
Etc., etc.
Etc., etc.
And well, I did that, and there was 4 to page 3 girls there, and they were very tiny girls actually.
Yeah.
And it was very pleasant too.
It's. Were they in their bras and pants?
Well, they had to on the part of the advert was as the camera went past them, they opened their gown really.
Peter, it's an outdated concept, though. It's silly and it's rubbish and it's lazy and it's embarrassing, isn't it?
I don't think, actually, for normal people, it's not doing any harm whatsoever.
Well, listen, we've got a correspondent from Belgium. Katia, what do you think about page 3?
So boobs is not news.
What would you like to say to Katia, Peter?
I think she's quite right. They're not.
But still, you like a good look first thing in the morning.
I just thought I'd mention it, seeing as you was talking about page 3.
Thank you, Peter.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's looking very slow between junction 24 for Potters Bar and 23 for the A1M. And on the A1M southbound, it's looking very busy between junction 3 for St Albans and 2 for Welham Green at the moment on the cameras. Looking at the M1 southbound, it's very heavy between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. And on the A1 southbound, it's very slow between the St Neots junction and the Black Cat roundabout because of the roadworks in place there. In Luton, Vauxhall Way, we're hearing reports that it's partially blocked because a car's broken down at Eaton Green Road on the roundabout, and that's causing queues now to Hitchin Road. And in Hemel Hempstead, the A41 southbound's very slow between Two Waters Road and the Hemel Hempstead turnoff and the M25 junction 20 for Kings Langley. On the trains, the London Overground is suspended between Watford Junction and Queen's Park because of a fire by the tracks near Wembley Central, and that's also causing severe delays on the Bakerloo line. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you. Right, 7:47. It is Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. If you want to hear those recordings, facebook.com/BBC3CR.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. Quite a misty and murky start to the day. There's a lot of low cloud, there's mist and fog, there's outbreaks of rain. It's just a grey day. It's not going to improve too much either, I'm afraid to say. If we're looking at the bright side, we're getting less rain than the eastern side of the country, so that's all good. We do still have this rain though, so it is rather damp. The maximum temperature is going to struggle as well, just 10 Celsius. Overnight conditions aren't going to change too much at all. This mist and fog will become widespread, further outbreaks of rain. The temperature is also not going to change too much. It's not going to drop down really at all. Between 7 and 10 Celsius the minimum temperature, so very similar to today's daytime values. As we head into tomorrow morning, it's a similar start to the day tomorrow. A bit of mist and murk, some rain, but it is a gradual improvement. A southeasterly breeze starts to pick up tomorrow afternoon. That helps to just move the cloud around a little, so it should start to dry out. We'll get some brighter spells tomorrow afternoon. The maximum temperature up to 11 Celsius, and that's your forecast.
Giza?
Your world is full of the things that are most important to you.
Now the County Council's wondering if it can take the buses away too by building bus tunnels underneath.
From what's happening in the next street to what's happening in the next town.
The fire was at its peak at around 9 o'clock when there were 60 firefighters and 20 engines here.
You don't want to just know about it, you want to really understand it.
It's a busy road, this is, for cyclists. Do you think it should be a legal requirement that cyclists have to wear helmets?
Your local news matters on BBC Local Radio, TV and online.
08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Now, we've heard on this programme about the dangers that cyclists face when they're out on the roads. However, it would appear that nowhere is safe for a cyclist after a woman was pushed off her bike on a towpath in Hemel Hempstead into the canal. Police are investigating the incident, which happened Friday evening alongside the Grand Union Canal near B&Q. Justin Dealey, you've been down to that section of the canal, haven't you?
I have indeed.
What have locals been saying?
Went down there yesterday. Not a nice day to be along the canal. Some people are very shocked about this. Other people, well, surprisingly, they can understand why this has happened.
Sorry?
Yes, I know. Incredible. Some shocking audio coming up here. Here's what local people had to say.
Well, I think that's rather sad. I think that's rather unfair and rather sad. I sympathise with the cyclist. I don't think. I mean, I don't like it that people get sort of pushed into the canal. I've heard it's rather dirty water.
If the person who did this is listening to this broadcast right now, what's your message to that person?
I'd say apologise, and if you're going to do this, you should stop immediately before you get into deeper trouble. Because the law are going to be after people who do these things unprovoked.
Afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Graham.
Graham, you're a walker, aren't you? Yeah. A keen walker.
Well, not one.
Come on, you're a keen walker.
I can walk, so I do.
Lovely. OK. You made up for the occasion. Graham, I'm going to shock you now. A cyclist has been pushed into the canal. An unprovoked attack. What's your reaction?
Won't surprise me one bit. This is life today, mate. You know, I've seen worse. I've seen fights over nothing in pubs. I've seen fights in parking spaces. Pushing in the canal is back to life.
Graham, let's stick to canals, OK? Yeah. Have you seen cyclists pushed in that canal before?
No, but I've
nearly pushed in.
I felt like doing it myself, to be honest with you.
Oh, why?
Well, I'm walking along there, and they come up behind you. They think they got the right of way. Yeah, the way, they say. So I said, well, what gives you the right to have the right of way? Because years ago, you used to have a permit to ride your push bike on.
Are you condoning somebody being pushed into the canal here, Graham?
But I can understand these things happening from past experience. They think they've got the right of way, and then another person, you go along there, they've got bell on their bike. All right, you hear it, you move out of the way.
Oh, come on, man to man here. Man to man. How close have you been to pushing a cyclist in the canal? I'll be honest.
I wouldn't do that because I'm 66. I'm not fit enough now. But 10 years ago, I got more aggressive.
So you would have done it 10 years ago?
If they get aggressive with me, yeah, of course I would.
There you go.
Flipping heck.
I know.
I'm a little speechless at that, Just.
I was as well. And other views from people along that canal, again, equally as shocked as the first person, but again, other people kind of backing up what Graham was saying, that some of the cyclists, let's just say, they aren't very courteous along that particular stretch of canal. But, pushing somebody in, that's taking it way too far.
I don't know the area, Justin. How wide is that pathway that the cyclists will be passing pedestrians on?
I mean, it's relatively tight, so if you're coming along that canal on a bike, somebody would have to move to the side for you. There's certainly not enough room for people to be walking down there along cyclists. And Graham makes the point about the bell. I think that he's saying that some of the cyclists that go along that canal, they are a bit arrogant and they just come along. So as far as he's concerned, he can understand, as shocking as it may sound, he can understand why somebody may have lost it and pushed a cyclist into that canal.
Justin, cracking report. Thank you very much indeed. Jimmy Walsh runs off-road rides for Hemel Hempstead Cycling Club. What do you think to some of those voices you just heard, Jimmy?
Well, it's a shame that people feel that it's okay to assault someone in public because they're riding a bike. Personally, I think it's rather shocking to hear an old man say if he was 10 years younger, he'd be happily pushing people into the canal.
Have you experienced aggression like that when you've been out on your bike?
Every cyclist, when they're riding on the roads, will occasionally come across people who are, let's say, angry towards cyclists. But generally speaking, if you ride courteously, people respect that. And as a cycling club, we definitely encourage people to ride with courtesy for other road users, pedestrians, cars alike.
Now, we often hear of beef between drivers and cyclists, but very rarely, I've not particularly heard of beef from pedestrians towards cyclists.
It's not something I've personally encountered. Whenever we have off-road rides, which often do take in areas where there's pedestrian use, solely pedestrian use and shared use, we would always be very careful about making sure that we announce our presence if we're coming past people, saying we're coming on the left, coming on the right, making sure that we're slowing down so that we're not herring past people. So I think with careful, courteous riding, these problems can mostly be avoided. Unfortunately, there are ignorant people out there who... someone who's prepared to push a woman into the canal at night is probably someone to be avoided at all times. Who knows what they would do.
Oh, he sounds like a complete and utter dodgepot. There are ignorant motorists and pedestrians. There are ignorant cyclists as well, aren't there?
Well, I mean, there is ignorant people who do everything. You can't tar all cyclists with the brush of one person that's done something bad. Of course, some cyclists do go through red lights, but that doesn't mean all cyclists do. It doesn't give anyone the right to treat them badly on the roads. Too often, people use the example of the one bad cyclist to tar all cyclists with the same brush, and it gives them the licence then to drive aggressively or shout at cyclists. The amount of times where, as a group ride, we've been riding very carefully on the roads and people have come past just giving us inches to spare, which is incredibly dangerous.
Some people, and again, not everybody, but significant. We will get phone calls on the back of this from people who hate cyclists. Don't just dislike them, don't find them irritating, hate cyclists. Where do you think that comes from?
I really don't understand this personally. I've encountered it. I've had people shouting, spitting at me as I'm riding past. I take my daughter to school in a trailer in the back of my bike. I've had cars come past me screaming abuse. I don't really understand why this happens. All I can think is that people are either running late for something and they feel that the 4 or 5 seconds that they get held up for by a bike going slowly is some massive inconvenience to their right to drive their car at whatever speed they like. In the most part, if you need to bike on the road, you may be inconvenienced for 30 seconds while you find a safe place to pass them. Most cyclists will give you the space, but only when it's safe for them.
Jimmy, nice to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed. Jimmy Walsh is a member of the Hempstead Cycling Club. Over to you. I open the phones up to you about this, and I know we'll get loads of people saying, oh, flipping cyclists, arrogant, smug so-and-sos. And there are dodgy cyclists that jump through red lights and do things they shouldn't, but then there are dodgy car drivers that jump through red lights and do things they shouldn't, and dodgy pedestrians that cross the road. Well, there are examples in all fields. Let's just put the question out there, and it's slightly loaded, but you can come back on the other side of it as well. The question I'm going to ask is, why do you hate cyclists so much? I had a row with a cyclist on Friday. He was a plum, but why do you hate cyclists so much? It was on the radio, it wasn't on a road. Why do you hate cyclists so much? Now, if you don't hate them, you can come back and tell me why, but I want to kind of load it ever so slightly, because I want to find out from those people who do dislike cyclists immensely why they do. 08459 455 555. There does seem to be more hatred towards cyclists than pretty much any other group, than the Poles, than the Romanians, than travellers, than car drivers, than pedestrians. So, last hour of the show, we can take some of your calls on this, please, dear listener. Why do you hate cyclists so much? What's your beef with those people who get on bikes and ride? What are they doing wrong? 08459 455 555. You can send us some texts as well. 81333. Start your text 3CR. You can also go to the Facebook page, and there you will find the audio of a bumbling burglar calling up for a cab from a house that he may have just burgled. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 southbound's looking very heavy at the moment on the speed sensors between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. And in Luton on Vauxhall Way, it's partially blocked because of a broken down car at the Eaton Green Road junction, and that's causing queues to Hitchin Road at the moment. In Beaconsfield on Amersham Road, it's starting to get busy southbound between Ledborough Lane and the A40 London Road, and into High Wycombe on Marlow Hill, it's starting to get very slow around there as well. On the trains, the London Overground is suspended between Watford Junction and Queen Queen's Park because of a fire by the tracks at Wembley Central. That's also causing severe delays on the Bakerloo line. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha! Why do you hate cyclists so much? Is that why, Justin? That's why, thank you. He's just given me a very graphic description. We'll take your calls on that and bumbling burglars after the news with Simon Oxley.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines: rise in homophobic crime in beds and hearts. Facebook defended over Lee Rigby killing, and suspected Luton burglar recorded calling a cab.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, according to new research. In Herts, it has doubled in the past 12 months, from 8 cases to 16, while in Beds it went up from 6 to 10. But the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, shows a fall in the past 2 years. Inspector Jim Willis is from Thames Valley Police.
Hate crime is certainly a priority for us. One hate crime is one hate crime too many. What we did last year, we introduced LAGLOs, which are lesbian and gay and trans liaison officers, but less trained to work with victims and investigating officers to provide a more sensitive and effective response, which I think shows the level of commitment that we show to dealing with homophobic hate crime.
The government's being warned it's unfair to ask internet companies like Facebook to monitor all their postings for possible terrorist content. It emerged yesterday one of the murderers of Fusilier Lee Rigby posted online that he wanted to kill a soldier. Richard Barrett is a former director of MI6.
Facebook has, about 5 billion posts a day, so clearly on a worldwide basis it would be almost impossible to deal with the amount of stuff that was referred. And even if you took out all the pictures of kittens which were put up, you'd still be left with an awful lot to go through, and so it would be an enormous task.
2 Bedfordshire police officers are due to go on trial today in connection with the alleged assault of an autistic man in Luton. The case at Aylesbury Crown Court is due to start this afternoon. It's claimed that Farouk Ali, who's 33, was punched as he watched dustmen outside his home. Protests are taking place across America over the decision not to prosecute a white police officer who shot dead an unarmed black teenager. The officer has told American television he had no choice but to open fire when the teenager charged towards him. Police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. The man dialed 2 taxi firms from the landline in the house at Woadcroft Road last month, but hung up after he was asked for his phone number. A flat-screen television and other electrical items were stolen. Bedfordshire Police want anyone who recognises the man's voice to contact them.
Here, I can help you.
Can I have a taxi, please?
Where from? What's your contact number?
This one here.
Give me a private number, bro.
Is it on private?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
Police are appealing for witnesses after a cyclist was pushed into the canal in Hemel Hempstead. The 29-year-old woman was cycling on the towpath off Two Waters Road at around 5 p.m. last Friday when a man pushed her and her bike into the Grand Union Canal. In sport, Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale in League One last night. Will Grigg gave the Dons the lead, but they needed a Danny Green equaliser to earn a point. The weather dull and overcast with outbreaks of rain, a maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Today on BBC Three Counties Radio.
From 9.
The JVS Show.
With the big phone in, the hottest topic of the day, and your consumer problems. From 12.
Nick Coffer.
Film critic Barry Norman talks about an evening of film soundtrack music that he's hosting at the Corn Exchange in Bedford.
From 3.
Roberto Peroni.
I'm here with a roundup of the day's news, the latest travel, and your stories.
From 7.
Mark Forrest.
I'll bring you the best bits from everything that's been happening on BBC Local Radio.
Today on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. We'll play the audio, the recording. I hate saying the word audio. It's a real radio term. We'll play the tape of the burglar a little bit later on. It's brilliant. He calls a cab from the house he's just burgled. What a plum. If you want to hear it before we play it on air, then go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. Do share it. A, because you're doing a worthwhile thing sharing it. B, because it's funny. Here can I have a cuppa of. Talking about that. also asking, why do you hate cyclists so much? Cyclists was pushed into the canal last week. Why do people hate cyclists so much? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
John's in Datchworth. John, why do you hate cyclists so much?
I wouldn't say I hate them with a passion or anything like that, but weekends and stuff, we get a lot of cyclists around our village, and they bunch ride. They won't move over. They take up more than half the road in a fairly narrow area. They won't move over. Now, I was always under the impression that they're supposed to go down a sort of single part or let the motorists pass.
I thought that as well, and I remember having a discussion, probably an argument, with a cyclist on this show a few months ago, and apparently they don't have to go down to single file.
Well, perhaps someone ought to look in the highway coding. As a professional driver, I should probably know it anyway, but...
We should all know the highway code inside and out, John.
We should do. But that gentleman you had on the radio a short while ago, he wouldn't take any, I'll say, responsibility. He seemed to be quite ignorant towards the motorist. He was sort of a cyclist. Cyclists were basically gods as far as he was concerned. That's how it came across.
I should have asked him, and I must remember to ask this every time we have a cycling expert on, do they drive? I would imagine that Mr. Walsh we spoke to probably drives. Do you cycle?
I have cycled, yeah. I mean, I've got bikes when we go on holiday and stuff like that with the caravan. We throw the bikes in the back of the van, and myself, the wife and the kids, we do cycle around. But the other problem is, between Welwyn Garden City and Hatfield, there is a cycle track, pavement cycle track. And they don't use that. They cycle in the road, through traffic lights that they don't need to use, roundabouts they don't need to use.
Yeah.
They complain when there's no cycle paths, cycleways, and when the government supply them, or local authorities supply them, they won't use them. So what is either person supposed to do?
John, thank you very much indeed. Wendy, in Watford, why do you hate cyclists so much? Wendy? Oh, Wendy, you're there. Wendy, why do you hate cyclists so much?
I am a cyclist, but I am a cyclist that will not bunch up when cars trying to get past. Year before last, we nearly missed our ferry because we were limited to sort of 10, 15 miles an hour for about 30 miles. The M25 was closed. We were trying to get to a ferry over in Dover.
Yeah.
And we were stuck. There was a cycling race the next day. They were obviously all out practicing.
Oh.
And every time they went down the hills, this fairly professional cyclists, they went quite fast. Going up the hills, they went really slowly. And it went on for miles and miles and miles. Tailbacks, absolute nightmare. And we made it to the ferry with about 2 minutes to spare. We were very lucky to catch it at all.
So what can be done? Because but you will get bad drivers that slow people down and cause accidents. There are bad pedestrians that slow people down and cause accidents. Yet people seem to really have it in for cyclists, don't they?
Well, some cyclists are quite bloody minded, aren't they?
So are some drivers.
I have a motorbike as well.
Oh, blimey! Look at you, Wendy.
And right now I'm driving a car, so I walk, so I do it all.
Yeah.
Apart from lorries, I don't drive lorries. But I do think that it's respect for other road users. And on the motorbike and on the bicycle, if I think there's a queue forming behind me for any reason, after a while I'll tuck in. I'll even stop, let them pass. Not that hard to do.
Wendy, thank you very much indeed. We're asking this morning, why do you hate cyclists? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A little cup of coffee just been brought in now. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. That's according to new research. In Herts, the problem has doubled in the past 12 months from 8 to 16, while in Beds it went up from 6 to 10. A Freedom of Information request for the Press Association reveals. Well, the Thames Valley Police area shows a fall in number of offences from 42 in 2013 to 29 up to the end of last month. Well, Justin Dealey has been speaking to gay members of the community in Bedfordshire about the verbal and physical abuse they've suffered.
Well, usually it's just on nights out, people shouting abuse at you, shouting, like fag, hitting you, and a lot of the time it's people just like kind of throwing their weight around, trying
to... hitting you? People have been hitting you purely because you're gay?
I had someone, when I stood at the bar, just hit me in the back of the head, acting like nothing was happening.
How did he even know you were gay?
Usually it's just like hot look, and they just kind of guess, or sometimes it's the way you dress, or if you wear makeup, or if they're just trying to look hard in front of their mates.
And this report out today says that it's getting worse. In your experience, is it getting worse?
Yeah, not just in this country, everywhere. It's just stupid in a modern country.
Sometimes when you go out, do you almost feel, just lastly, because you're gay, do you almost feel scared to go out now?
Oh yeah, you can't be open a lot of the time. You have to just kind of walk around and act straight just because of what people say or do. There's fear that something's going to kick off with them.
It depends where you are as well. Sometimes it's on public transport, like on the tube in London or on the bus. You get people just sneering at you, laughing at you. And it also depends how you act around your own friends, because if you're open around your own friends, people clock onto that and then they become annoyed at it and then they can say horrible stuff.
When you talk about people sneering at you because you're gay, what about people threatening you? What about violence towards you? Again, purely based on the fact that you're homosexual.
I mean, I've never actually had violence towards me apart from when I was in secondary school, but sometimes there's a bit more mental, like people harass you mentally, and sometimes that can hurt more than physically.
Greg Ratty is a gay rights campaigner from Hertfordshire and a former advisor to Herts Police on homophobic abuse. Are you surprised the figure has gone up, Greg?
Good morning. No, I'm not surprised, actually. I'm hearing a lot myself in emails, texts, letters to my shop. I'm not surprised at all. Certainly I've noticed an increase in it myself.
Oh, really? What's happened to you?
Well, I've done quite a lot I prefer to really say human rights, really, but I've done an awful lot for gay rights in the past, and I've got quite a high profile as a gay man in Hertfordshire. And, I can give you an example.
Yeah, go on.
Last week, walking my dog, the car pulls up and 4 guys in the car, and the windows come down, and then it's effing queer and shouting abuse, and then they drive off, and that's just one incident. And I'd say that's probably 3 to 4 times a month, I guess.
I'm shocked, by that incident and by the amount... Is it because of the abuse that you get? Is it because of your campaign work? Are people aware of you enough? Or is it simply because you're gay? And if those 4 lads in the car were doing it because you're gay, how would they know? Have you got like a gay walk or something? How would they know that you were gay?
No, I think, as I said to you, I've had a high profile.
Right.
I did a campaign to change the NHS, I don't know if you remember it, recode system from homosexuality from a disease, which is still classified as a disease up until a few years ago. And I ran a campaign then with the help of a cabinet minister, and we got it changed. It was great, but it does give you a profile, and people do recognise you, and I haven't got a strange walk on it.
No, that's nuts, isn't it? That's nuts that you would be challenged aggressively because of who you choose to sleep with and the fact that you decide to stick up for some people who perhaps don't have such a loud voice.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
How does that make you feel, Greg, when you're out and about then, when that happens?
To be perfectly honest with you, now, I take it with a pinch of salt. I just walked in, carried on life as normal.
Really?
Absolutely, and... having been, I told you I was an advisor to Hertfordshire Police on hate crime for many years. It came from the Stephen Lawrence report in 1999.
Yeah.
It was set up, and I just feel now, I wouldn't do anything about it. I certainly wouldn't phone the police.
Oh. Why not?
Well, because I just think it would just be such a waste of time. I think that the police at the moment are treading on eggshells. They're having to be so PC about other issues, and I think that homophobia has taken on the back burner, to be frank.
I was going to say that maybe this increase in figures could be seen as a success in some way, in that it might imply that more people are reporting these incidents.
That would be great if that's right. I'm not convinced, because I have so much goes unreported still. But, I mean, that would be great if that's true. I mean, let's hope they do.
What do the police need to do, then, to change people's perceptions and encourage people to report these crimes more?
I'll tell you the perception that I certainly have, and it's a perception that a lot of people that I hear from. So we have a lot of immigration. I'm very much for immigration in this country. Much of the immigration has come from some of these old ex-Soviet countries, who are very, very proportion of Catholics is very large, and the Catholic Church, I have to say, in my opinion, has been one of the greatest, most antagonistic, homophobic organisation that's caused an awful lot of issues for gay people. And I think that bringing their culture with them has brought some of that with it, quite frankly. And I think this is a perception of a lot of people, certainly a lot of people that I've spoken to.
Greg, it's really nice to talk to you, and I appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed, Greg Ratty. I'm shocked by that. I suppose I lived for a long time in that there Ponzi London, and I work in the Ponzi media, where, you know, pretty much every alternative, in inverted commas, in italics lifestyle is commonplace and is embraced, literally and metaphorically. But to hear something like that is it's depressing, isn't it?
It really is. I don't understand the mentality of someone who'd say, I don't like that, so you must be punished.
You sleep with someone that I don't think you should be sleeping with, so I'm going to shout at you while you're walking your dog. You disgust me.
And your dog too.
You big gay dog.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
I can't.
It's like a reaction of a I would say 5-year-old, but that'd be insulting to 5-year-olds.
Because 5-year-olds dig it, man. 5-year-olds don't care that people are different. They care when they get older and they pick up from their parents and from the newspapers and from the telly. How dare you walk your dog? And I don't like who you fall in love with. Your dog is horrible and gay. It's weird, isn't it? It's really depressing. 08459 455 555. We'll have more from the Divvy burglar, and also, why do you hate cyclists? I tell you what we do. We can do a double-pronged question here. Why do you hate cyclists? On the back of that, why do you hate gay people? Why do you hate gay people? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A1M southbound, it's looking very slow at the moment between junction 9 for Letchworth and 7 for Stevenage. And the M25 anti-clockwise is also queuing between the M25 junction 19 in Watford and junction 16 for the M40. Having a look at the speed sensors in Beaconsfield, and Amersham Road is looking very heavy at the moment southbound between Ledborough Lane and the A40 London Road. And into High Wycombe, Amersham Hill is looking very busy as well. In Hatching Green, Harpenden Road is very slow between Ayers End Lane and the Avenue Road at St Albans. But in Luton on Vauxhall Way, that breakdown has now been cleared at the Eaton Green Road, so things are starting to move better through there again. On the trains, there's no major delays at the moment, but on the London Overground, the Overground is suspended between Watford Junction and Queen's Park, and that's also causing severe delays on the Bakerloo line. There's also severe delays on the Piccadilly line as well. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thanks, TalkSport. That's her nickname from now on, TalkSport. 8:17. It is Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. A former director of MI6 says it's unfair to ask internet companies like Facebook to monitor all their postings for possible terrorist content. And police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into. If you want to hear it, you can follow my tweets at Iain Lee, or you can go to the Facebook page where we've posted it up there. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 12, Nick Coffer brings you
the wickedly funny Anne on Strictly Come Dancing. Do you know who the real Anne is?
Great guests.
Yes, the real Anne is an amalgam of all those things. We're all multifaceted.
Jasper Carrot's career spans 5 decades.
And then you had to wear a bow tie and you had to do jokes about silly Irishmen and mother-in-laws.
John Cleese is eating his microphone, aren't you, John Cleese?
Great music.
Ow! In fact, I don't even think it had the horn part then.
Great conversations.
I always have said throughout my career, you know, you get me on board, I'll give you 100%.
Have you still got it, Billy Ocean?
Well, the audience seems to think I have.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Scarface. Scarface.
I like that, yes.
Let me show you my little friend, it's a scarf. That's Al Pacino from the film Scarface.
I am wearing my scarf today in the studio because it's cold in here.
I'm just thinking, do we have the heaters anymore? Because you always, I remember the last winter, you're always running around with the heaters like an old woman.
Well, I like a heater in my studio because I don't like the air conditioning.
No, so you turn the heater on like you had no concerns at all whatsoever for the environment.
Well, I mean, I am quite a tree hugger.
Yeah, of course, as long as you're tasering that tree. What's on your show this morning, boss?
We're discussing the burglar.
Oh, yeah.
The audio you've been playing this morning.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
From 9 this morning, I'm going to ask, were the police any good when you were burgled?
Oh, yeah.
Bedfordshire police have released a recording of a suspected burglar calling for a taxi after robbing a home in Luton in the hope that someone will recognise his voice. The man called for a cab from a house on Woadcroft Road in the early hours of Saturday, the 25th of October. The taxi firm recorded the audio after the suspected burglar couldn't give them the number he was calling from. The police are urging anyone who recognises his voice to contact them straight away. Well, the fact they've released the audio would suggest that they've not had much luck finding the man who committed this crime. Well, I just wonder whether the police are generally pretty good when you're burgled, or whether they often do draw complete blanks. From 9 this morning, I'd like your experiences. I'm lucky, I say touching wood. I'm very lucky I've never been burgled. Have you ever been burgled?
Never been burgled. My mum has. I've never been burgled.
Really?
Yeah.
And when she was burgled, were the police any good? Did they get it?
The police were excellent, actually. Yeah, they didn't catch the person, but they made all the right noises, but they didn't catch the person.
Horrible. Just the thought of it.
Yeah.
Just the absolute thought of someone coming into your house and going through your stuff, and then the cheeky devil picking up your landline and phoning for a taxi.
It's a cracking recording.
I mean, for goodness sake, what the hell's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your views. Were the police any good when you were burgled? 08459 455 555. That's my number.
If you hear a whisper, give us a shout.
Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you want to hear that recording, facebook.com/BBC3CR. We've posted it on our Facebook page, and well, the guy, if he is the burglar, we're not sure, but I mean, come on. But he's a real dimwit, isn't he? He's a real donut.
Doesn't sound like the fizziest drink in the fridge.
Can I get a cab, bruv? What's your number? This one? It's not coming up. I don't know how to do it.
It's a landline.
It's a landline, isn't it, bruv? It's brilliant. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Make sure you share it, please.
Little point of order.
Yep.
Batty riders.
Yep. I got the term wrong, apparently.
No, Steph in Luton says you're nearly there.
Oh.
Batty riders are in fact very, very, very short shorts, showing part of your butty, which pronounced with a Jamaican accent is your batty.
So I'm a batty boy then?
No. She's half Jamaican, and so she knows.
Okay.
About batty riders.
So I've been showing, but I thought that
it's honestly
batty boys were the lads that where they had the trousers
can you stop
round.
Saying that? No.
Sometimes they wear it round by their knees.
That's called jailing. I thought that's what that's called.
Oh, okay.
Jailing.
Stupid.
Sorry.
It's called stupid.
It's called no need.
It's called trendy, guys.
I've been behind some of these guys on escalators, and you can virtually see,
what they have for breakfast,
where the gusset would be. It's right underneath. That can't be easy to walk in.
Run. The thing is, I don't need to run. The thing is, I'm looking cool. I'm just hanging with my homies.
You're literally hanging out.
Yeah.
Who are they doing it for?
You girls. And for each other.
Do you know what? I'm all right. I've seen pants before.
Yeah. Not these ones.
They're always stripy as well.
I can't see your pants. That's the problem. I can see actual bum.
You need somewhere to park your bike.
I can park a couple. Anyway, talking of bikes, I don't hate cyclists, says Harvey in Bedford, but it's annoying when they insist on riding in the road when there's a cycle track beside the flipping road. Harvey in Bedford.
Those cycle tracks are so badly maintained, though. And you're going back and forth because they kind of stop and then you have to go on the road, and it's a hard knock life.
There was one where they put it in Bedford along London Road, and most of the road was cycle path, and then there was probably about 30 centimetres worth of pedestrianisation. So you virtually had to walk along the,
all right, mate, calm down.
tightrope. I often walk along the towpath along Bletchley and Leighton Buzzard, says Liam in Bletchley.
Yeah.
Sometimes Leighton Buzzard. Some cyclists, more than others, acknowledge you giving way to them, more so when I've been walking in neighbours' Akita, and I suspect it has something to do with me keeping the dog under control. Yeah, you're probably right.
We're asking two questions this morning that have come about through, just the conversations we've had. One, why do you hate cyclists? Yeah. Two, why do you hate gay people? Rise in the number of violent homophobic attacks. Why do you hate gay people? I don't get it. They sleep. Why would you hate someone because of who they sleep with?
And how can you tell?
I mean, I don't understand. I don't like some of the people that my friends sleep with. I don't hate them because of it. I just think they've made bad choices. You can do better than that.
You don't try to cure them by punching them in the face.
No.
It's funny, that cure never works, does it?
It's weird, isn't it?
I don't hate cyclists, says Dave, apart from one.
Yep.
So listen up. If you ride a bike, this might be you. He rides down the A5 about 6-ish. He rides outside the white cycle lane. This causes people who pay for the roads, to drive at a walking pace. I hope he gets a boil on his bum. Not Catherine, that would be a nice thing, says
Boil on the bum. We all pay for the roads, even cyclists. Because the vehicle licensing duty doesn't go towards the roads. Thank you very much for this, Catherine. Albert, we'll come to you after the news, if that's OK. I've got to crack on with this. Milton Keynes Council met last night to discuss their report into how a serial rapist was allowed to become a taxi driver. The ex-mayor of Milton Keynes, Subhan Shafiq, who vouched for him, has since stood down altogether from the council. His Lib Dem leader, Douglas McCall, is now in the firing line for defending his right to choose whether he steps down and when to do so. Conservative Andrew Geary is the leader of Milton Keynes Council and joins me now. Good morning, Andrew.
I'm not the leader of Milton Keynes Council anymore, Ian. I resigned in May, but I was the leader of Milton Keynes Council. How's that?
I do apologise, Andrew. I just miss you so much in that position. I can only apologise.
Well, I really appreciate the sentiment.
Brian White was on the show earlier on. He's a Labour councillor. He's refusing to give a view on Douglas McCall's position. What do you think Douglas McCall should do?
I think Douglas has left himself in an absolutely impossible position, and there's only one thing he can do, and that is stand down.
Why do you think he needs to stand down?
When, in fact, long before I became leader of Milton Keynes, Ian, when I was in opposition, the then leader of the council, Sam Crooks, came to me, and he said, following issues around, ironically, the other Councillor McCall and her lack of leadership of the council, our reputation as a city and as an authority is in tatters. And he approached myself and Norman Miles, the then leader of the Labour group, and he said, will you help us rebuild that reputation so that we can actually get across the really good points that our city has got and all the good things that it's got going for it? We put politics aside and said, yes, we will. We'll drive on and do it. For 2 years in opposition, I did that. As soon as the Liberal Democrats, of course, fell out of administration and Sam Crooks lost his seat, it was abundantly clear that their number one concern was not the reputation of Milton Keynes, not the good of the people that live here. The main and overriding force of the Liberal Democrats was keeping votes and keeping the numbers of councillors sitting on seats. And the lack of leadership that Douglas McCall has demonstrated over this, when reputations take years to build and can be destroyed at a stroke, the lack of leadership that Douglas McCall has displayed is frankly lamentable. If he had acted quickly, if he had acted under the recommendations that officers and the advice that officers gave him, and that, frankly, I understand his party from above gave him, we could have nipped this in the bud right at the start. Instead, now it's a national scandal, and the reputation of Milton Keynes is not in a good place.
Of course, it is becoming a little bit of a bum fight, isn't it, between all the parties kind of pointing at each other and saying Yabu sucks. But if I've got this right, wasn't there a Conservative in charge of the licensing committee when the licence was recommended by Subhan Shafiq for a serial rapist?
You haven't quite got it right on two counts.
Go on.
There was a Conservative chair of the licensing subcommittee the first time around. Yes, there was, although the licensing committee of very nature acted in a quasi-judicial manner. But the current Conservative leader and I and all the other Conservative group have been abundantly clear. If that Conservative councillor was still a serving councillor, she would not be a member of the Conservative group now, and we would have asked her to resign from the council over it. And the statements, frankly, that individual made in the audit report and when that investigation was done lead us to believe that she would not be a fit and proper person to be representing the public anymore. So there you go. It's not a political argy-bargy.
What comments did she make, Andrew?
Well, comments that she thought this was a witch hunt and stood by what she'd done originally, and did others. But other councillors who were on there have been gracious enough to hold their hands up and say, you know what, guys, I got it wrong. I made a mistake, and I'm sorry for it. People like Gladstone McKenzie, people like former councillor Alan Mallion have said exactly that. Now, that we can respect, and that I think the public can respect, but it's when people dig their heels in and say, we've done nothing wrong and we're not being accountable for it. I'm sorry, that is just not a defensible position.
So you, just to clarify, Andrew, in case some people are confused, you don't think Lib Dem leader Douglas McCall should stick around?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I believe that he has singularly failed in his position as group leader. And I was a group leader for 8 years, so I know how you need to act in these situations. It isn't difficult. It isn't easy, rather. It is difficult. It means doing difficult things with your own members. Douglas didn't do it. And in failing to act in doing that, he has left the reputation of the city in a very, very poor place. And it incenses me when I worked hard for 7 years to make sure that we got the reputation of Milton Keynes to a really good place. It's dented and it's damaged this morning. It's not in tatters, it's dented and it's damaged. And I am really, really disappointed. In fact, as you can probably tell by the tone of my voice, I'm angry about it.
You don't sound very... Andrew, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can you buy a new telephone? Because this sounds... Are you in a box or something?
No, I'm on a mobile parked up, having just done the school run.
Well, in that case, listen, we'll let that go. Thank you very much, Andrew, and sorry for getting your title wrong there. It's Conservative Councillor Andrew Geary, 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Taking a look at the Motorways Festival, the A1M northbound's very heavy at the moment between junction 6 for Welwyn Garden City and around there. Having a look at the cameras as well, it's looking very wet, so take care there because of surface spray. And the M25 anti-clockwise is queuing between junction 19 for Watford and 16 for the M40. Having a look in Hemel Hempstead, the A41 southbound's very slow between the Hemel Hempstead turnoff and the M25 junction 20 for Kings Langley. In Wendover, it's very slow on the A413 southbound between Nashley Road and Chesham Lane, and in Hatching Green, Harpenden Road is looking very busy southbound between Ayers End Lane at Hatching Green and Avenue Road at St Albans. On the A1 southbound, it's looking very busy at the moment between the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks there, but on the trains to London Overground has resumed a normal service again after the problems with the fire earlier on, and that means the Bakerloo line is running fine as well. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30, I'm Simon Oxley. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. A former director of MI6 says it's unfair to ask internet companies like Facebook to monitor all their postings for possible terrorist content. And police in Luton have released recordings of a suspected burglar phoning for a taxi from the house he'd just broken into.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Milton Keynes Dons drew 2-2 at home to Rochdale in League One last night. Will Grigg gave the Dons the lead, but they needed a Danny Green equaliser to earn a point. Carl Robinson's side are fourth in League One, 5 points behind leaders Bristol City, but with 2 games in hand.
We were good, created chances, enough chances to win the game, but weren't as fluent as what we have been in recent weeks and as pleasing on the eye. But we've created just as many chances, and I think every one of the players really rolled the sleeves up second half and had a right good go, and that's important.
Chelsea have qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League after a 5-0 win against Schalke in Germany. Manchester City came from behind to beat 10-man Bayern Munich 3-2 at the Etihad with a hat-trick from Sergio Aguero, keeping alive their hopes of progressing. Tonight, Arsenal host Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool are away to Ludogorets. Watford midfielder Alman Abdi played an hour for the Hornets under-21s last night at Vicarage Road. Abdi was making his comeback after a shoulder injury he suffered a month ago. The FA are investigating after missiles were thrown onto the pitch during Luton's match at Burton on Saturday. The Hatters say any Luton supporter identified will be banned from Kenilworth Road for 6 years. Goals from Jack Jebb and Rory Deacon gave Stevenage a 2-0 win at home to Bishop Stortford in the Hearts Senior Cup last night. In Conference South, Hemel Hempstead lost 1-0 at Bath. In the Southern League Premier, Chesham won 3-0 at home to Hereford. And England's cricketers start their one-day series in Sri Lanka today. The first match starts at 9 o'clock this morning, our time. Here's Captain Alistair Cook.
We know what we've got to go and do. We've got to play, certainly with the bat, aggressively to get those totals, if the pitch allows it, up around 300. We know that's kind of the score now. And then with the ball, be absolutely clinical at the end.
Meanwhile, Australian batsman Phil Hughes remains in a critical condition after he was struck on the head by the ball during a match in Sydney. Hughes will have more scans today. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Catherine joins me in my studio.
Yes.
Thank you.
But first...
Oh?
Albert on the phone.
Yes, Albert?
Morning, Ian.
Good morning, Albert.
How are you?
I really need to wee.
Oh, well, you best go then.
I'm not going to leave you unattended on the air, Albert. I always have to. Number one, I always have to ride the fader when you're on. I have to ride it hard.
Oh, that's the talk. I was going to talk to you about my cycling because I'm a keen cyclist, and so was my late wife.
Okay,
Hello?
so you don't already. I'm nervous. So you don't hate cyclists then?
No, of course not. I'm a keen cyclist. We used to ride our tandem up and down towpaths all the time. We were very conscientious about the people walking.
Yeah.
We wouldn't pull a wheelie unless anyone was out of the way.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't believe the amount of abuse that we got off people just for cycling.
Really?
There was some guy on a towpath. I can't use the exact language on the radio, obviously, but the gist of it was he yelled at us as we went by, "Oh, you great hairy whatever."
Yeah.
I said, "Don't talk to my wife like that. She's got a medical condition."
Oh, dear.
It wasn't very kind, I thought.
No.
So we had to pimp our bike.
What?
Well, we had to pimp it. You know that show, Pimp Me Car?
Yes.
We pimped our bike.
What did you do
make
to it?
sure. Well, put a bit of razor wire on the front and back.
Dear.
Swapped out the bell for an air horn.
Yeah.
Then we put little spikes on the wheels.
Oh, dear.
It was a bit like James Bond's Aston Martin, but in tandem form.
Can I ask, Albert, if it's not too inappropriate a question, how did you lose your wife?
Well, she fell into a meat grinder. I'd rather you didn't bring it up, to be honest. It's a bit raw.
Sorry about that.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Last 25 minutes of the show, you can call in 2 questions. Why do you hate cyclists, and why do you hate gay and lesbian people? Why? The number of violent homophobic attacks has gone up. The number of reported the violent homophobic attacks has gone up. I just wonder why you hate gay people. We heard from a campaigner earlier on who got shouted at by 4 lads in a car as he was walking his dog. Why would you do that? I don't understand. So, why do you hate gay people? Why do you hate cyclists? And the double whammy, why do you hate gay cyclists? 08459 455 555. Now, it's been a very long time since I planned a bank heist or a diamond robbery. I don't need the cash anymore, although it's always nice and I like to keep my hand in. But I do remember there are a few golden rules when it comes to that kind of business. And not calling a taxi from the scene of the crime is a biggie, Catherine. It's a biggie.
Yeah.
And yet it seems that some plum has done exactly that after burgling a house in Luton. Catherine, what's happened here?
We've got this guy's voice on tape.
Oh, it's a great recording.
Courtesy of Bedfordshire Police, right? They've released this in the hope that someone will recognise it and tell them who he is. What we do know is that this fella called for a taxi from Woadcroft Road in the early hours of Saturday, October the 25th, so just over a month ago. We also know that on that very night, a home had been burgled in the road, and offenders stole a number of electrical items, including a large flat-screen television. The taxi firm recorded the audio because the caller couldn't identify his phone number.
Well, this is the first call that he made.
Spearhead, I can help you.
Can I have a taxi, please?
Where from? What's your contact number?
This one here.
Give me a private number, bruv.
Huh? Is it on private?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take off. It's on the landline, boss.
Give me a mobile number, innit?
079.
Yep.
No, 078.
078.
94.
94.
Oh, hang on, I don't even know that. No, boss, it's alright.
Now, at that point, it could be argued that
give out his own number.
It could be argued that he remembered his lessons.
He started to give out his own number.
He swerved that one.
Oh, I love this
I just
idiot.
thought, right, I'm going to do this again because I really do need a taxi.
Yep.
Next time, I won't be caught out.
Here we go.
Hello, I can help you.
Yeah, can I have a taxi, please, mate?
Well, same call centre, man.
Oh, is it the same call centre?
Yeah.
No, that'll do without a number.
No, we take numbers so the calls are recorded as well, innit?
Alright, no worries.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's thinking, how am I going to get this TV and all these electrical goods? He's an absolute
Or is he?
plum.
Because he's a suspected burglar.
He's a suspected. If it is him, he's an absolute plum. But someone's house has been burgled, as we said earlier. Always a horrible, upsetting event. Probably doesn't make it any easier for them knowing that the guy that may have done it was a complete sausage. But what have the police said about this?
They won't say that this is the man they want.
No.
What they will say is that they believe this man may have important information about their investigation.
There we go.
Okay. He said this is the detective constable who's leading this inquiry, Scott Hannum, says he would urge anyone who recognises that voice and I mean the guy who phoned up, not the taxi operator. We know who he is. Or for the man or if they recognise the man himself, to contact the police. He's also keen to hear from anyone who has any information or saw a large television being taken for a walk around the Woodcroft Road.
They actually say that.
Woodcroft Road area in the early hours of Saturday, October 25th. If you can do either of those things, 101 is the number to call.
I suggest you go to facebook.com/BBC3CR because we've posted the audio up there and you can have a little listen and you can share it around.
I mean, if this is the burglar...
Yeah.
I mean, what a wally.
Do you want to say hello to Paul in Milton Keynes?
Always. Morning, Paul.
Morning,
Catherine?
Catherine, that's it. I remember Ian, I remember Kelly, but...
Oh, she's gone now, Paul!
Is she? Oh, dear, okay.
You've blown it!
Right.
Oh, dear. I mean, I only remember her name because I've got it tattooed on the inside of my eyelids.
Catherine the Great, wasn't it? We'll have to remember it like that.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late, fella.
Okay.
I've got her name tattooed on the inside of my eyelid, so every time I blink, oh, it's Catherine. Oh, it's Catherine. Who's this dull woman? Oh, it's Catherine. Who's this dull woman? Oh, it's Catherine.
You know you're saying this out loud and I can hear you.
What?
Outrageous.
Hey, what have you got for us, Paul?
Well, I'm a cyclist.
Everyone hates you.
Yeah. Well, maybe so. I'm a motorist as well, and I have a motorcycle licence. But I think we should have a new road safety slogan: "If you're in a hurry, don't drive," because there's too many motorists who seem to go fast just because they're trying to convince themselves they're important.
Yeah.
And I cycle up the Drayton Road, which has got to Drayton Parslow sometimes, and it's quite a few bends in it, and people just a lot of motorists excellent, but some fly along there, and they come around the bend, and you're there cycling along, and I always wear my visibility jacket, etc. But not very good. So I mean, I think as well, how many children can cycle now? I think it's
too many.
No, I think they should be like swimming. It's something that when I was at school, you had to be allowed to cycle to school. You had to pass your
cycling proficiency test. I got 98% on my cycling proficiency test. I'm a brilliant cyclist.
Good, yeah, and it's lovely, isn't it? I always think cycling is an event. I mean, if I go down to Bletchley Town, which is about 2 miles, I'm down there in about 8 minutes on my bike. By the time I've got my van out and gone round the roundabout route, I don't save any time, and also you can stop and talk to people. You can float around the town. Just sort of.
The thing is, where do you leave your bike though? Because it'll get nicked.
Oh well, I've got one of those little combination locks.
They're rubbish. A burglar could chop through that within a second. You need to. The thing is, this is true. If you're going to lock your bike up, you need like a 70 quid lock.
Do. I agree, but if you're just doing a bit of shopping in daylight, I mean, you just sort of pop it round a lamppost or something, 2 seconds, you haven't got to lose the key, so you just move your bike on. I agree. I've heard as well, with those, you want to put them tight round. If you're going to leave your bike all day, put them tight round it, because people can get a bar in and twist them, apparently. But yeah, no, they're ideal for you just sort of, my old bike, I don't suppose many people would want to pinch it anyway. But,
do you lycra up, Paul?
I do. Well, no. I
don't want to. I have to stare at your bum when I'm stuck behind you in traffic.
Says you.
No. I always wear a reflective jacket because I think it gives me half a chance. Which I think really the government should, perhaps under 18s anyway, should say, right, you should have a reflective jacket on for sure. But no, I always wear something reflective, even more important than lights. I think at night, because I used to work on the railway, and reflective jackets show up miles away. They're wonderful things.
Paul, listen, we're going to move on because thank you very much indeed.
Can I just say though, they're no replacement for lights. Have both, for heaven's sake. There is one fella I see quite regularly, or swerve quite regularly. Yeah. He's got his fluorescent jacket on. You only see it when you're on top of it.
But then you see cars that don't have their lights on, or their lights are broken, or one is broken and one's on full beam. So why?
Yeah, but you're less likely to be so damaged, are you? They're more vulnerable on a bike.
Well, yeah, but
it's all wrong. It's all shades of wrong.
I had one coming up hard behind me the other day.
Really?
Yeah, a car, and he didn't have his lights on, and he just kind of came up fast behind me.
Yeah.
Nearly ran me from behind.
What did you do?
Were you cycling?
Sorry?
Were you cycling?
No, mate.
He was in his car?
I was in my vehicle, my motor vehicle. I was terrified. It made me jump.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. Why are you saying it like that? I know you're tired.
I'm trying to get into the. I'm trying to get interested.
Flip it, heck, mate. You think it, don't say it.
Sorry? I'll say something wrong.
Simon Smith and his amazing dancing bear says, recyclists... Oh, let's play that song tomorrow. Simon Smith and his amazing dancing bear.
Is that a real song?
Dig it out now. Alan Price. or Georgie Fame? I think it's Alan Price. Oh, it's a great song. Simon Smith and his amazing... Dig it out. We'll have it before the end of the show.
Digging.
Do we dig it out now, then?
I'm digging it out now.
Recyclists, it's the lycra, the smugness and the sweat. That's what Simon Smith and his amazing Dancing Bear doesn't like. How could you not know that? How could you not know that song?
Because I'm not as old as you.
Oh, mate.
Alan Price?
Yeah, I'm not 2,000 years old, but I know who Jesus is.
What, personally?
Yeah.
I would say Jesus is probably a bit more famous than Alan Price. Or
Get out of town! My friend Dan Barzotti went out with Alan Price's daughter. Didn't go out with Jesus' daughter.
No,
who's the most famous now? Yeah.
Dan Barzotti.
Do you realise how ridiculous you sound? We'll have travel, then we'll have someone who's bigger than Jesus, Alan Price.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's looking very busy on the A1M southbound between junction 10 for Stotfold and 7 for Stevenage. We're hearing from callers that it's much busier than usual there. On the A1 southbound, it's very slow between the St Neots junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks in this morning rush. And the M1 southbound's looking very slow between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and junction 9 for Redbourne. In Hatching Green, Harpenden Road's very slow southbound between Ayers End Lane at Hatching Green and Avenue Road at St Albans. And in Hemel Hempstead, or nearby Hemel Hempstead on the A41 southbound, it's very slow between Two Waters Road and the M25 junction 20 for Kings Langley. In Wendover on the A413, it's looking very slow southbound between Nashley Road and Chesham Lane. And on the trains, there's no reports of any problems at the moment, and those problems on the overground and the underground have now cleared. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. I do love it when people hear a different show to the one we're broadcasting. We'll come to that in a second. 8:45, Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Violent homophobic crime is on the increase in Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire, but down in the police area, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire. 2 Bedfordshire police officers are due to go on trial today in connection with the alleged assault of an autistic man in Luton, and police are appealing for witnesses after a cyclist was pushed into the Grand Union Canal in Hemel Hempstead. Some of your phone calls, a little bit of Alan Price, but before that, here's the weather with Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's a rather damp, grey day, really, right the way across all 3 counties. It's not going to improve too much either. We've got outbreaks of rain, just light drizzle, really, but rather damp, misty, murky. Temperatures only getting up to 10 Celsius. Now, conditions aren't going to change too much overnight tonight. Rain, drizzle, widespread mist and fog, but also the temperature isn't going to change too much. Many places staying exactly the same as they have done during the day. Coldest spots down to around 7, so a mild night. So a mild start to Thursday, a similar start to Thursday. Patchy rain, some drizzle, mist and fog, but slowly it'll start to improve, dry out in the afternoon. Pick up a bit of a breeze from the southeast, which starts to dry out and move the clouds around a little. Maximum temperature tomorrow 11 Celsius, and that's your forecast.
If you stick anything out of your window, you're asking for attention. I'm going to sneak.
Every weekday morning,
You can book your place on the show now.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Come on and get some help, get some assistance.
Tackling your consumer problems.
They couldn't trace an account in any of the names or any of the addresses that were given.
For it to be running for 6 weeks and then for them to cut it all off again just doesn't make any sense.
The JVS show fights for your rights.
He came to me and asked if I could go and have a word with said bank.
I had an email from the bank to say that you've been in touch with them, and the senior customs relations manager was most apologetic.
Thankfully, you managed to get your money back.
Yep, but that was due to, obviously, your station itself.
The JVS show.
I'll take
Weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
You said it was thanks to the station, not to Jonathan Vernon Smith, so I get that. I get some of that.
I get a bit of that too,
Yeah,
then.
you get a bit of that, yeah.
We've caused offence, and
I
we
know.
didn't mean to.
Well, but sometimes we mean to. We don't mean to today. We're asking, why do you hate cyclists?
We do mean to cause offence to homophobes.
Yeah. Why? Thank you. Well twisted. Why do you hate gay people? There's an increase in the rise of violent attacks against gay people in this area, and we spoke to a campaigner earlier on who's had some quite incredible verbal abuse directed at him because of who he chooses to sleep with. And so we're asking this morning, why do you hate gay people?
Because we think it is incredible that in 2014 someone's sexual orientation would lead to anyone. I mean, we're a nation normally of tolerance where people just rub along together, they can do what they like, no one minds. And in fact, even if they do mind, we normally end up apologising to each other about it. So what would make someone think they had the right not only to shout at someone in the street, but maybe punch them in the face over it.
Do you know what? You don't even need to explain it, because the intelligent listeners and even most of the thick listeners will get why we're asking, why do you hate gay people?
I think if someone jumped in and out, they can see, they might...
Go on, what's someone's beef?
I think if someone jumped in and out, they might think we were being... we were taking the mickey out of homophobia. Actually, I would hope people know us well enough to know that we're not like that, and actually we're taking the mickey out of homophobia.
What's the complaint we've had?
Oh, just saying that we've got it wrong. That we've got it wrong.
They think that we're being homophobic?
Or they think we're being, I don't know, glib or something. That's not the intention.
Shall I lighten the mood a bit? Yeah. With the best song ever?
Go on.
He's Alan Price. You don't know this song, Catherine?
There'll be a reason.
Oh, you're going to love this. I'm so excited for you.
I may go out tomorrow if I can borrow a coat to wear. In style with my sincere smile and my dancing bear, outrageous, alarming, courageous, charming. Oh, who would think a boy and bear could be well accepted everywhere? It's just amazing how fair people can be. Seeing at the nicest places where well-fed faces all stop to stare, making the grandest entrances, Simon Smith and his dancing bear. They love us, won't they? They feed us, don't they? Oh, who would think a boy and bear could be well accepted everywhere? It's just amazing how fair people can be. Everywhere would be Simon Smith and his dancing bear. It's Simon Smith and the amazing dancing bear.
I'm going to sneak.
Feel better, Kath?
No.
Oh, how? Right, OK, we'll play it again.
No, don't play it again.
It's a good song, huh?
I'm not having one of those days today.
Oh, dear.
I can't please anyone.
Do you want me to give you a rub?
Can please me, Kath.
No.
Any day of the
that
week.
wasn't... No.
Do you want me to give you a rub?
No.
You don't know what I'm offering to rub?
No.
08459 455 555. Peter's from Stansted. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Ian.
You saw the paedophile programme that was on last night. We talked about it on the show yesterday.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've not got around to seeing it. I'm going to try and watch it this week. It's hard when you go to bed at 8 o'clock and you've got two naughty children. What was the kind of essence of it, and what did you make of it?
Well, the reason I found it, first of all, I want to know if Jonathan was talking about it, but apparently he's not on the first day, at least. But the thing is that what struck me, I work in a small group with people who of same-sex attraction, who have also desires, so obviously for same-sex, but not children, who do not want it. It's unwanted for them for a variety of reasons, but they have nowhere to go. They're invisible, just like that guy is, who doesn't want the attraction that he's got, and he's invisible because he's got nowhere to go, nobody to talk to. I really felt for that guy last night. I really did, because I know him and help and work in a group with people of same-sex attraction who have the same problem. All they're told is go out and live it, but they don't want to. They don't want that attraction. They can't help it. They've got it. There's not much you can do about it. You can't solve it. You can't go on a course and clean people of it.
How do you help? So you work with gay people who don't want to be gay?
Yeah.
What help do you offer them?
It's a variety of things. Some people, there are different organisations. Some work it through because some of the people are of faith, so they don't want to practice it because of their faith. Other people just have it because they just believe in, like that guy with the paedophile understands to him that it's wrong. It shouldn't have this feeling because it's outside the norm, if you like, outside nature's norm. Yeah. That's how they say it. They say, I don't want it. I don't fully understand as a man, a heterosexual man, the feelings of someone who wants to be attracted to somebody of the same sex or a child. I don't fully get it, but there are people out there who don't want it, and they just need help. They need somebody to talk to, basically.
What's your background, Peter?
My background is nothing. I help in with this organisation. I don't want to say who they are because I'm not a spokesman for them.
Well, how does it? Well, so you're just a bloke, heterosexual bloke. What practical help do you offer a gay person who doesn't want to be gay because it's not, to quote you, normal?
Yeah. Well, there is a member of my family who is, so that's how we got involved with it. So we did it with help for ourselves, my wife and myself. But mainly for them, it's having if they want to go and practice their attraction, they need somebody who they can just phone up and talk to or meet, and we meet once a month anyway as a group.
I'm sorry to pressure you, but what help do you offer them? I come to you. I'm a gay man, right? But I don't want to be gay. I don't want to be gay. What are you going to do for me, Peter?
For me personally, obviously, because I don't have that attraction, but I can put people in touch with other people who have that same attraction, who then they can.
So hang on, you're putting gay people who don't want to be gay in touch with other gay people?
No, with other people.
It sounds like fun.
With other people who have same-sex attraction who don't want it, so therefore they can meet together and find out ways of dealing with it, basically.
Well, what ways are there of dealing with it? This is what I'm trying to get to.
There are many. Some do it through, as I said, through faith, and others.
Because they can't be turned straight, can they?
No. That's what I said at the beginning. I said you can't. It's not something you can just get rid of. You can go on a course and as you say, turn straight.
So what do you do?
They will always have these feelings all their life. If they've got other people to talk to and try to understand how to not to it, then obviously there are people who deal with it in many different ways and how not to. So
the ultimate goal is to still remain gay but not be sexual.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they don't remain gay. They have that attraction, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't take it away.
So they're still gay. They're still gay at the end of the process.
Yes,
but you have helped them stop having it.
But they believe even within themselves that they from their feeling that it's they've got it, but there's nothing they can do about it. But they don't like it because they believe it's not natural.
Right. Do you believe it's natural?
Just by the same order. That's why I wanted to talk about the paedophile guy. Oh. He feels the same way. He has this attraction to children. We can't understand it fully. There's nowhere for him to go.
Do you think that being gay is normal?
Do I think that having same-sex attraction is normal? Personally, no, I don't.
Where did that come from? Why do you think that? Is that religious?
It's both. I wasn't anything of faith until I was about late 30s. So my attitude to homosexuality.
Could you be described as a born-again Christian?
Well, if that's the term you want to use, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to find out.
That's what people would say. But I can tell you, before that, when I was in the forces in the 70s and 80s, my attitude to homosexuals was put them against the wall and shoot them. That was my attitude then. My attitude is completely different now.
Well, in some ways it's different in that you don't want to shoot them, and that's, I guess, is going to be a bonus. But
But there are people out there. I'm not trying to convert anybody or change anybody. They've got this attraction. They can't do anything about it. Same as the paedophile guy.
I'm slightly uncomfortable with the, and I know why you're saying this. Okay, I can hear why you're saying.
I know what you want to say. You don't think that same-sex attraction of
no, that's not what I want to say. I'm trying to dig you out of a hole because you're mentioning paedophiles and gays in the same sentence. I know why you're doing it, but there will be people listening who can't quite join the dots as we are joining the dots. Peter.
The reason I want to join that. I knew you'd say that because you're trying to say you can't put them in the same bracket.
No, Peter, I'm trying to dig you out of a hole because I can hear what you're saying. You are not saying that gay men are more likely to be paedophiles, are you?
Oh, no.
Exactly.
No,
so let's...
No, those two don't necessarily go. They might go together, but not necessarily. But as that Iain guy said, he has the feelings for women, quite, as you say, normal.
Peter,
but he also has...
We've only got a minute left, okay? Right. And I've dug you out of a hole. Don't
I'm not dug in a hole at all.
No, you have, because there'll be some people listening who won't quite have heard what you said. So I've dug you out of a hole. Don't fall in anymore. Wouldn't it be better, instead of helping gay people to not be sexual, wouldn't it be better and more productive to help them realise that there's nothing wrong with being gay, that they don't have to live in shame, they don't have to deny who they are, and that being gay is a perfectly wonderful, beautiful, natural thing that happens throughout the whole animal kingdom, throughout all humankind, and that they shouldn't be ashamed of what they are?
But that's not the case for them. They don't believe that.
Shouldn't we be helping them believe that?
No, I don't help them believe that.
I know you don't. Shouldn't we be helping them believe that?
Not from their point of view,
No,
but they say that themselves.
They don't believe that. I'm going to try again. Shouldn't we be helping them believe that?
Not necessarily, no.
Why?
Because if you try and force that upon them if they don't want it, then you're not helping them, are you?
No, you're not listening. I've got 15 seconds. I'm not saying should we force them to go around having it away with each other. Shouldn't we help them believe, through education, that being gay is not a shameful thing? It's a very natural thing.
No, we shouldn't.
Peter, thank you very much indeed. I have to end it there. Thank you for your call, Peter. What an amazing call to end the show on. Sorry, James, we didn't get time for you. Sorry for that, mates.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound has a lane blocked on the exit slip road at junction 14 for Milton Keynes. That's causing it to queue from the exit slip road onto the main carriageway there. And having a look elsewhere on the motorways, the A1M southbound's very slow at the moment between junction 10 for Stotfold and 7 for Stevenage. We've heard from caller Ben. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's queuing between junction 19 for Watford and 16 for the M40. And having a look elsewhere in Hatching Green, Harpenden Road's very slow on the speed sensors between Ayers End Lane at Hatching Green and Avenue Road at St Albans. And in Aylesbury, it's looking very busy on Friarage Road around the Oxford Road roundabout and the Walton Street roundabout as well. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Samantha. Well, I guess the improvement there in that gentleman's attitude is he doesn't want to lie and gaze up against the wall and shoot them anymore. That's progress. Surely we should be, if people are upset that they're gay, and I can kind of understand why, we should be encouraging them to accept... Oh, I don't need to say this. You know it, don't you? JVS is up next. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Wednesday, it's 9 o'clock, and on today's big phone-in, were the police any good when you were burgled? Bedfordshire police have released a recording of a suspected burglar